Hello and welcome to ReelTok episode 126. I am here joined alongside my beautiful co-hosts Cameron and Tyler. George is unfortunately unable to be with us today. I think he's busy. Do we know what he's doing?
He's getting a full back tattoo and it's taken all weekend.
Yeah, he's getting of Cam's face. That's what he's doing. So yeah, good luck to George. Hope it's not too painful. We got a pretty good episode for you today. We're going to be reviewing the Brutalist Companion. Got a few trailers, good bits of new movie news as well that we'll kind of be covering. But the main bulk of the episode will, of course, be the Brutalist, reviewing that. We all got a chance to see it last week. Discuss it as usual. First of all, just want to shout out the merch store as it is live again. Patrons, if you are a patron, you will have a code available for 20% off merch. So if you are wanting to grab some ReelTok merch, whatever it might be, have a look at designs, get what you want, and you will get 20% off. So also, as an extra benefit for the patron, if you do want to join, you will get 20% off the merch as well. But also, you'll get access to our Discord, in which it is very, very active. People chatting daily, nightly about all that good stuff. You want to talk MMA, you want to talk football, you come and speak to me. You want to talk egg ball, you go and speak to Tyler. You want to talk tennis, you speak to... Well, actually, I would have said George, but now
I took over that. I'm the new tennis guy.
Tyler.
George ain't in the Discord. George is too cool for the Discord.
George is a cool guy. Yeah, have a look at joining the Discord. We appreciate all the support recently, especially on the ReelTok Awards as well. Obviously, I was unable to say that last week because I wasn't here. Before we go into anything, we'll usually cover, as always, what we've been watching and what we've been up to recently. Tyler, how are you doing and what have you been watching?
Doing well. Didn't have the biggest week of watches. Didn't have the most productive week overall. Just kind of had a pretty standard week. Got another standard week ahead, and then I head to Pittsburgh for a week for work. So gonna enjoy this last week at home before going on some work travel again. Obviously, some big sports news this week for basketball fans. Like people always joke like when a team does super bad or something they're like, I can't support this team anymore. I can't be a fan of this team anymore. But it's like a joke. But I actually don't know if I can be like a Mavs fan anymore. Like ever since I moved to Dallas in 2018, 2019, kind of just adopted the Mavs. I lived a block away from the stadium for 2 years of my life, so pretty easy access to go there. There's a Luka restaurant there too, and I don't know, Luka Doncic, he's just my guy. Like Riley and I both have Luka jerseys, big fan. So I don't even know if I can really be a Mavs fan anymore. It's just kind of like a bummer team now. They're just like becoming a new Lakers. They're just like geriatric, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson. They're getting the retirement home and down there.
They went to the championship last year.
Like with Luka. And
yeah,
now
it's crazy.
Kick him away. So I don't know.
They think it's a rebuild year.
At this point, there's all kinds of rumors flying around that he's like I love the people are like saying he's like has a drinking problem. People are saying he's like almost 300 pounds. There's all kinds of stuff.
I saw that he's almost like 300 pounds. Did you see that video like of them celebrating making the finals and he gets like the beer taken from him?
So I feel like that's literally the only reason people are like thinking like, oh, he probably has a drinking problem. But I think that was just more a brand image thing. But I don't know. Obviously, this is like the first full year, I think, where Mark Cuban's not like the guy anymore because I think he like relinquished that control last year. So I don't know if they have a new vision, but bummer, man. Like Anthony, I mean, I think the Mavs got better for 2025. Like this season, they're gonna do better now than they probably would have just because Luke is injured. But it still just stinks. So I don't know. I'm moving to Austin. It's closer to the Spurs than the Mavericks. I might just go all in on Wembanyama and just be a Spurs guy because Luka's really like the guy keeping me a fan of the Mavs. So we'll see how he does in the Lakers. I feel like him and LeBron are way too similar players to be on the same team. Like Luka's just like a hog, and like that's how you want him to play. Like you want him to like run the entire show. Don't think that works in Los Angeles. So we'll see. Bummer though.
Big sport, boo NBA, but crazy trade. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I told Kevin last night, like the only credit I'll give to the NBA is at least once a year they have like some like fun, crazy trade or something that gets people buzzing about them. This is like, I feel like crazier than most, but it's up there on like KD moving, LeBron moving, even though those were like their decisions after contracts. Like this is a weirder one for sure.
No, it's always crazy. The NBA can fuel the crazy trades. And this one, it seems like both Davis and Don, so like both sides of the trade were just like completely blindsided. Like, what the hell, I'm being traded. So interesting. The fallout should be fascinating to see. Yesterday was a great day of college hoops. Never been a fan of Kentucky or Coach Calipari, but all-time baller move. Just get like booed, come back to your stadium, and just ass whooped Kentucky. Like they were supposed to get killed.
Yeah.
That game was never close from opening tip. Like they dominated. The crowd was so embarrassed. It was fun to watch. But Purdue got the big win over Indiana. That was a scare for a while, so I'm happy for you. So just been a good week. Good week of sports. Also been watching a ton of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am because golf. Yeah, I love watching golf. Looks miserable. It's just been like rainy and cold the whole time there, but good golf. This week is a Waste Management Open.
Is Romo in that this week? Romo's always in that.
I don't know. The coverage I was watching didn't show like any of the amateurs. They just like didn't.
All pros.
Yeah. But then this week's the Waste Management Open, so Phoenix gets crazy for that because it's like the most rowdy golf event. So should be fun. I'm not going, but should be fun to watch. It's always one of the more fun ones to be a viewer in.
Have you watched any of the TGL, Tyler?
No, but it's doing well, isn't it?
Yeah, like, it's not bad. Like I watched it. It's not a horrible product. I actually quite enjoy it.
TGL's Top Golf League is what it stands for, right?
Yeah, I always call it the Tiger Golf League just because like he created it basically. But yeah, it is. Is it top or technology? It might be. I think it's top. It's actually not a bad product. It's pretty fun to watch, and it's just fun like to hear the golfers mic'd up and just.
Is it just in a studio in like LA or something, and like the golfers pop in?
I don't know where it is. Where is
TGL?
Florida. That makes sense. Tiger's from Florida. Yeah, so basically it's just like a massive screen, right? And then they get to the green, and the green can like move and spin, and there's a bunch of technology and like pads underneath that like change the green layout and everything. So it's actually quite fun. The downside is there's like they've got it programmed for like I think like 20 holes or something like that maybe. So it's really not it's not, a ton of different, but what are you going to do? It's not a ton of different variations, but they've only had like.
Yeah, you can add programming pretty easy if you just have all the technology is responsive.
I think it's none of it. I'm not sure if I'm right on this. I could be mistaken, but none of it is like pre-designed courses. Like I think they designed them for this league. So I think, if you just put in, Augusta National hole 17 or something, or Amen Corner or something in there. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think they like Tiger and team designed a bunch of the courses, but it's a fun league. It's nothing. I don't think it's like the NBA of golf. Like no one's taking it seriously, but
I'll have to check it out. I think don't quote me on this. I thought I saw it like on maybe DraftKings. You could like bet on the TGL potentially, which I don't know if you can or not. That I might have been making that, but that's just fascinating to me. Like a fully like technology.
I'm sure you could.
I'm sure you could too, but like technology based games, like betting on them, that's just I feel like it's a recipe for disaster.
They are like playing each other, so like I'm sure you can.
They're teams too, right? It's not one-on-one.
Yeah, so it's like teams of 4, but 3 players play, and for like 6 holes they do scramble type game, and then for 6 holes they do 1v1, and then because it's not 18 holes actually, it's like 16 holes. So however they break it down, maybe 4-4-4-4 or something. I forget. I'm not the biggest fan, but yeah, they do like games throughout. It's kind of fun. It's like something you turn on and you just watch a little bit of, and you say, yeah, that's good enough there.
Yeah,
but
I'll have to check it out.
They're doing weird things with the timing. Like they had every match was on Tuesday, and then they moved like Tiger versus Rory to like Monday night, and it's just like just keep it on one night. You gotta dominate one night.
Well, shout out Rory. He's going for the win today, so we'll see if he pulls it off. But yeah, any of these sports are infinitely better products than whatever is going on with the NFL Pro Bowl this weekend. I saw a clip of Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa speed walking. Man, how far we've fallen from grace.
I mean, yeah, dude, it's just. Yeah, it's bad, man.
There's 2 distinct eras I remember the Pro Bowl. There's when I was a kid when there's an actual Pro Bowl where people would actually hit. And there's like that obviously viral clip. I think it's Sean Taylor where he absolutely murdered the punter on the fake punt. Then it became where like it actually sucked, where it's like no one would actually like play football.
No one's trying, but it's
so they needed to change it. There was they needed to get rid of the game because no one would actually play, but they replaced it with just no one gives a crap about this.
It's a like JJ Watt clip that's like it's not the Pro Bowl, it's the Pro Bowl, it's the participation bowl when you get like 5 reserves deep, right? Because like Drake May is in this thing. Like it just I don't know, guys. I think we got to call it on the Pro Bowl.
Mhm.
Why do we need a Pro Bowl weekend? Like, why do we need this? I don't know anyone that advently watches it. I need to know what the numbers do. They probably are better than any other All-Star weekend, just because the NFL is king. But like, still, why do we need it? You know,
stupid. But in terms of what I've been watching this week, I watched Memoir of a Snail. That's now the one I'm pulling for to win for animated film. Even though a lot of them are neck and neck. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Wallace and Gromit win. Wouldn't mind. There's another Flow, but would prefer those over the other two. Which Inside Out 2 is on top of my head. I can't remember what the other animated film is up for. Oh, Wild Robot. But Memoir of a Snail is really good. It's really bleak, really depressing, really sad, and I was not expecting it. How sad it was. So I highly recommend everyone watch it. It's a very depressing film though. But excellent, claymation, stop motion. Kind of huge year for that. We got 2 nominees for best animated film that are both that animation style, which is kind of huge because obviously it takes years and years and years to make these films. So to get 2 of them to cross over at the same time and both of them get nominated, huge. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Give it a 4-star. Rewatched Anora. Didn't like it anymore. Maybe a little bit less. I give it the same rating as a 3.5, but maybe liked it a little bit less on rewatch. I will say on rewatch, even more insane to me that they didn't have an intimacy coordinator, like going into this watch with that in mind. Crazy that they didn't have one. And I still am like adamant that I don't think Mikey Madison should have been the one making the decision with Sean Baker, because I feel like that's like just puts too much pressure and guilt on her. And then Mark Edelstein, like, has he ever been in a movie like that? And every interview clip I see of him is his brains. He seems like he's 12 years old mentally. So you're telling me that dude had to do all those scenes without, like, I don't know. It's crazy stuff to me. I think it's just absolutely insane they didn't have an intimacy coordinator. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not super high on Anora. I think it's best at being like a fun comedy. I think every impactful moment Sean Baker tries to have and like thematic, hard-hitting elements, I think kind of all falls pretty flat for me. Rewatched The Invisible Man. Definitely my favorite Lee Winnell film. I wasn't huge on Upgrade, and obviously I really didn't like Wolfman. So Invisible Man, I guess I haven't seen Insidious 3, I think is the one he directed. But The Invisible Man's great. Have such a good time with it. Watch the trailer with Riley before watching it to see like if it would be up her alley and like she'd want to watch it with me. Worst trailer of all time. Like, absolutely gives away. Most trailers do give away so much of the plot, but beyond that, like, many of like the most insane visual moments or crazy scares or insane moments that like the first time you watch it just blows your mind. Like, it is shown in the trailer. I'm like, this is the worst trailer I've ever seen in my life. So if you haven't seen The Invisible Man, watch it. Don't watch the trailer because the trailer sucks and gives literally everything away. And some of the most fun scares and moments it just throws in the tubes. Then rewatch In Bruges, which we'll be reviewing on Friday's Patreon episode this week, so stay tuned for that. If you're a patron, we'll be reviewing Martin McDonagh's In Bruges. Watch Green and Gold, which we all know this in the film talk sphere that we all get like, I don't know, 6 emails a week being like, hey, watch this new indie movie that like you or no one's ever heard of, and they give you like a screener, and 99.9% of the time you just delete the email and throw it away real quick because it's like you just don't have infinite time in the world to watch these movies. But this one came across my email, and this one's not quite as unknown because I think it actually is playing in some theaters now this weekend. But it's about this grandpa who is losing his farm in Wisconsin, and he decides to make a bet with the banker who hates the Packers. He's like, if the Packers win the Super Bowl, you will like wipe out all the interest or like wipe out my loan or whatever, will be good. But if they don't win the Super Bowl, then you'll take my farm. So it's literally Uncut Gems, but for farming, where he's just betting his farm on the Packers winning the Super Bowl. And it's based on a true story. Apparently it's from like the 1996 season. Culver's produced this, the fast food restaurant produced the movie.
Shout out Culver's.
It's kind of another, it was just like everything in this email. I was like, I need to check out this movie. It has the guy from It Ends With Us, the other love interest other than Justin Baldoni, the guy who some people are like, yo, he should play Batman. So he's in this as like a country singer who comes over for dinner one night, and then the grandpa who owns the farm makes like a nice hearty Midwestern meal. He's like, I'm a vegetarian. And the grandpa is so disappointed in that statement from him. But just an all-timer, hilarious movie. Like they're at the NFC Championship game tailgating, and then the grandma falls off a ladder and that's like run home. It's like just a ridiculous movie, but I had a better time with it than I expected to. The Cowboys ended their run. They did not win the Super Bowl. So unfortunately, he was going to lose his farm, but Packer Nation came together and all donated to save it. So Packer propaganda, which I'm not a fan of. I'm a big Vikings guy. Yeah, it was a crazy movie, but I had a good time with it. I gave it 2.5. I had more fun than I expected. Apparently, I was talking about it in the Patreon with people in the Discord, and some people that live in more like rural states were like showing their theaters, and like they're like packed, like in rural areas, or I'd imagine especially in like Wisconsin too. These theaters are like selling out. So this is like an all-time farmer movie. So bring your tractor out to the cinema and go see Green and Gold. And then kind of went on a little 2-movie horror binge back to back. I watched The Mist, which was crazy movie. Ending is so insane. But the movie as a whole is fine. I give it a 3-star. I think some people in my mutuals are higher on it than others, but very frustrating movie to watch where you're just like screaming at your screen the whole time. Crazy movie. Finally got around to The Mist because obviously Frank Darabont, big fan of most of his films, and that was I don't think it was his last film, but it's definitely near the end of his career. It might have actually been his last film. Never mind. And then I watched, to wrap it up, I watched Carrie from Brian De Palma, and I thought it was fantastic. First time watching, 4.5 stars, incredible movie. Sissy Spacek is a real treasure. And yeah, that movie is awesome. So that's what I've been watching.
It's funny. It's like my second lowest ranked De Palma. I have it at a 4-star.
Yeah, he's kind of that guy. Oh, I also watched Severance. I'm all the way through season 1. It's going to start season 2. Really great show. I cannot believe the ending of season 1 where I had to wait 3 years to watch season 2. But now I get to jump into it.
Crazy. Cameron, how have you been? What have you been watching?
Yeah,
you've actually watched. I checked your letterbox earlier, by the way, or like yesterday.
Yeah, cooking.
You've been like watching this month.
I'm keeping up.
No, you're ahead. You're not keeping up. You're ahead.
Fucking Tyler's still ahead of me. But yeah, I'm cooking. Wow. I was like top 10 in the Discord of monthly watches. Yeah, it's been a good January. I'm confident it'll fall off just as the year grows, because like at the start of the year, I'm just gonna keep movies going just to get my numbers up and inflate my stats a little. And as the year goes, I get a little burnout, and then I'll start watching sports and watching other things. But college basketball takes up most of that watching time right now. But it's been a good week. I was traveling for work. So Emma traveled to Florida for the week. Like her family took the kids to Florida while I had to travel for work. So they had a lot of fun. I had a fine time. Like it's nice that they had something, fun going on. So I didn't feel like I was leaving my wife with a 2-month-old and feel responsible, a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old, and be like, oh yeah, sorry, enjoy the week. So I'm glad they got something to have a good week with. But yeah, I just kind of was really bored all week. Like after work, I just kind of came home and didn't do anything. So I started vlogging my trips to the movie, and I would go to dinner alone and had fun with that. I texted you guys. I was like, I'm running out of stupid ideas to do in my hotel room, and I always seem to find something dumb to do. Like, so that's the easiest part of those
all-time Cam Walsh TikTok run right there.
Yeah, so maybe the vlogs will continue. We'll see. I might like vlog after this. I don't know.
They must continue.
Because then, so the issue is obviously like niche of like movie talk and such. But then I vlogged my travel home. And then the Indiana Purdue game was Friday night, so I traveled home and then got to see that. And it just not flopped. It did fine. Like for my videos, it did fine, but it just flopped compared to the other ones because people just want to see want to see the movie content. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't go to the movies that much. I go to the movies once a week max.
We said this. If you're watching something at home, it'd be like
in my bed, man. I don't go to the movies a lot. I don't go like out to eat by myself ever. Like this is just it was a week of like me being alone in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts. So yeah, that's just kind of I was bored. But I had fun. I went to the theater 4 times this week, which is crazy. It's the first time I think in ever that I've gone past my AMC like A-list rewards. So yeah, it was a good time. I went and saw The Brutalist in theaters. I saw Flight Risk, which is not on the rundown, but I'm going to make sure to talk it. I saw Hard Truths, Seth. That movie's great, man. That movie's really, really great. It's my second highest of last year.
What?
Bluey. It's my third highest technically if we're counting the Bluey movie, or the Bluey long episode. Yeah, really great, really awesome. Yeah, just fantastic, emotional, hard-hitting, hilarious. Like the first 20, 30 minutes of it, the funniest movie of last year, without a doubt. Like so goddamn funny. And then
I wish you'd have seen it before we fucking did the
I know. I'm sorry.
It wasn't out here for either of us before.
Was it not?
No. It came out here after nominations, but like the weekend of like 2 days before the awards started. So
because there's no way Marion Jean-Baptiste wouldn't have got her.
Oh yeah, she's best actress of last year. She's fantastic.
But release your movies, let us see it. Because I think never mind. Amazon's Nickel Boys.
And it's like the most English film ever, and we only got it 3 days ago, whatever it was.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's crazy. But it's just really great watch. Like if you have not seen Hard Truth, and a lot of these movies. So I went and saw The Brutalist. The Brutalist was a bit of a trip, like the 3.5 hours. And I went and saw that one at like, I think my showing was like 8:45, which means obviously it's not starting till 9:15 or whatever.
30 minutes.
Oh yeah. I don't show up to all of those videos that like are me walking in as Nicole Kidman walks in. I don't show up 20 minutes until 20 minutes after.
Wow, 30 minutes
at minimum. AMC runs ads on ads on ads. Which keep your business alive. That's fine. I know it's going to be 20 minutes, so now I don't show up till 20 minutes after. Yeah, all of those videos, like I'm walking in basically as Nicole Kidman's walking in for her AMC ad. But yeah, so that movie was a bit of like, considering I was still getting up for work at like 5 a.m. That was a bit of a toll to be there till 11:45 or whatever. But we'll talk that. But yeah, it was a fine week. I missed my family a whole lot. It's hard to leave the kids and the wife for when you have a newborn ish. But yeah, it was a fun week. And then I also watched the Zack Snyder trilogy, The Way He Intended, on his second try.
Did you watch it episodically?
No, like I watched the whole trilogy. So I went through Man of Steel. I watched the extended cut or the ultimate edition of Batman v Superman, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League. None of the first try BS. And the second try, really good stuff. Like really good movies. I
slandered the slow-mo. Come on.
Yeah, no, the front, it's way worse in the front half, and that's when I was texting you guys about it. The front half of Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Justice League is actually almost unwatchable with how much slow-mo it is. If I ever get a free day in my life, which I probably won't, but if I ever get a free day in my life, I will sit down and watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I will manually record every moment in slow-mo versus every moment in regular speed. And if it's not 50-50, I will stop this narrative. But it's bad, guys. It's genuinely unwatchable for the first half of the movie. Gets way better. And that's not counting like the flash running. I'm okay with those slow-mo moments because the point is he's in super speed and everything's slow. That's the point. It's fucking, they're playing Wisconsin in football and we're running to the goal line slow-mo. Like I've watched the NFL. I don't need slow-mo. It's absurd. Sorry, that's my Zack Snyder. Good job with the second tries. And yeah, you should be able to log the Ultimate Edition versus regular edition, Batman versus Superman. It's weird that you can't, but
I think they should have a separate setting.
Basically. No,
separate like a
settings. Yeah, maybe.
That's fair. I know you can just tag like direct score, which I do, but having like a separate toggle or something would be cool.
Because like it's a whole 1.5 difference, I think, for me, or a star difference of like director's cut versus theatrical cut. Because you just get way more, and I get that. You can't put everything in the theater, but I don't know. I really like my heart goes out to Zack Snyder for what happened with the Justice League stuff. Like, and having to remake it a second time. Like, I'm very happy he got that opportunity, but like the Rebel Moon stuff is just absurd. Just really, you're on Netflix too. You're not in theaters. Just release the release the director's cut. That stuff pisses me off. Like, I will refuse to watch the director's cut of those movies. That's absurd. But yeah, and I watched some other things. I'm at 43 watches this season. Feeling good.
Nice.
Shout out Across the Spider-Verse. Watch that again. It's the best movie of the year, or best movie of all time. I mean, watched that a couple times this week, I think. So,
yeah, nice. I was obviously away last week. Went to. You were correct, Cameron. Actually, I think you said Sweden. I wasn't in Sweden when you said that. I went to Sweden. I went to Sweden for a day.
Doesn't sound like me.
No, true.
Could be
I went to Denmark and then Sweden for a day with my dad. Caught with him, had a holiday. It was nice. It was really, really good. Great time out there. Went to like a bunch of museums. Went to like the Film Institute, which is great. A lot of walking, a lot of seeing stuff. It was nice. It was a nice trip away. A lot of good food as well. Flight was delayed on the way back, which is as Tyler would know, always fun. But it was like delayed. It was that awkward thing, where you passed the boarding pass and the like passport section, and then you have to just stand there for ages. It was a bit of a nightmare. But yeah.
Have you visited like most of Europe at this point then? Because you said that was your first time in Sweden, right?
I have been to Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, Spain, Italy, France, Belgium, Austria, Portugal, Switzerland. No, I've got loads to go. A lot of the eastern side I haven't been to. So I haven't been to like Czech Republic. I've been to like Romania, Latvia. I haven't been to a lot of that side. We're going to Paris next month for my mum's birthday, which would be cool. And then heading to the US of A.
Mm-hmm.
Go
very
Eagles.
nice. Very nice.
What's the most overrated place you've traveled?
Most overrated place. I tend to like everywhere because I just like I will make the best out of anywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Brussels in Belgium was that great in terms of stuff to do, and the food wasn't very nice. But I think most places I've been, like Lisbon, was amazing. I went to Cuba when I was like 15. That was amazing. But yeah, so Paris next month, and then the US of A. And I think me and Anna are going to go to probably Spain or something because she wants like a summer holiday. I'm not a big summer holiday guy, like beaches, sitting there by a pool.
I'm here with you.
I couldn't think of anything more boring ever.
Mm-hmm.
I walk. I like to see things. Like
that's Emma's favorite holiday, vacation. Damn, you got me saying holiday. That's like her favorite thing. She doesn't want to go anywhere and do anything. She just wants to sit on the beach for
but
I can't.
I've like tailored Anna to my lifestyle now, so now she enjoys the walking. So I've kind of but yeah, I don't really enjoy that stuff. When people they'll like get like a resort and like all inclusive drinks and food, and they just sit by the pool.
There's a time for it. Like our honeymoon was all inclusive, and that's like just
how long for though? How long did you go for?
It was a week.
If I could do a week, maybe a couple of days.
At a resort, like I played golf one day when Emma went and got a massage, and that was like great. And then we met up for dinner, kind of thing, and that's great. And then like we had a day on the beach and a day at the pool, and a day seeing the area. Like there's a time and place for it for sure. I can't do it all the time for every vacation. I can't.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was really, really good. Enjoyed it. Got back on Monday, like 12 a.m. on Monday, something like that. It was cool. But no, it was really, really good. Really enjoyed it. In terms of what I've watched, haven't watched like a major amount. I think I'm the lowest of the ReelTok crowd. Like in the Discord, I saw Cam mentioned, like we have a leaderboard that people do. I'm pretty low down, which is quite, sad. I watched, what did I watch this week? I watched The Big Heat, which is the Fritz Lang film, watched on the plane. That was cool. I watched Lucy, which is the like Scarlett Johansson, Luc Besson, like sci-fi, very weird, kind of like Tree of Life Fest, but worse. I watched The Brutalist, obviously we'll discuss. I watched Wagon Master, which is my favorite John Ford so far. Rewatched Hard Truths. I know it actually, for the first time ever, I want to say, jumped from a 4 to a 5 which is
Good
pretty
film.
fucking substantial. And it was funny because when me and Tyler reviewed it, I remember saying that I don't know why I give it a 4 because I've thought about it so much. It was such a weird one for me. Then I watched it again. Like, it's like my favorite film ever. It's almost like considered like my Banshees. Very much my style of a film. Not to compare it to, but loved it. Last night I watched Memories of Murder because I'm gonna go and rewatch like a bunch of Bong's like films. When does 17 come out?
Only 2 months. We're gonna do a Bong Joon-ho special
Sure,
before then for sure. So
No, wait, we do it with it, right?
with it, yeah. With
Well, we've done both.
I watched Snowpiercer. Good film.
I haven't seen Snowpiercer, Mother, or Host in like.
You've never
Probably
seen
3
Snowpiercer,
years.
or you haven't seen it?
No, I've seen Snowpiercer like a couple of times, but I haven't watched it
Yeah.
since like when did it?
Yeah.
Like 3
Dude,
years.
2010.
I don't know
or
what
something.
I don't know what Chris Evans' agent is up to these days. Like he's
Well, he's
not a
picking
bad
as well.
actor, man. I don't know. And he's way better at being an asshole. And I think now that he's done Captain America, he's like, I can only be a nice guy. Except in Knives Out. I don't know what's up with him.
Yeah, I haven't seen Snowpiercer for a few years. I haven't seen Mother for 2 years. Mother was really good. I haven't seen Host for a few years. So I rewatched Memories of Murder. First watching a couple of years as well. Just like the best film ever. It's so fucking good. I watched Parasite fairly recently. So, actually, that wasn't. Do you know when you say you watched something recently and then you're like, yeah, that wasn't recent at all?
Yeah.
Time is kind of freaking me. That was September 2023. What the fuck am I talking about?
We're all getting old.
That is kind of wild. But yeah, I think we're gonna do an episode, whatever. I watched last week as well. Wait for I watched Midnight in Paris. I don't know if you guys know that one. It's the Woody Allen one with like Owen Wilson and what's her name? Rachel McAdams, who I like a lot, obviously. Shit film, fucking hated it. Fuck Woody Allen, fuck that film. It's terrible. Don't care. Watched Trick or Treat, kind of horror comedy. Didn't like it. When did I last speak to you guys?
Feels like ages. It's like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
like 2 weeks ago.
The 19th.
Oh, yeah, because we recorded on Saturday. So on the day after, I went to see La Haine, but I went to see it with a live score, like a performed live score at the BFI on a massive screen. Fucking shit was amazing. Loved that. It was so good. But that's kind of it for me. I haven't been watching kind of a grand deal overall, to be honest.
Yeah.
Continue, Cameron.
Yeah, just want to shout out the Discord of the weekly or the monthly like leaderboard. So Tyler of the podcast, Tyler's in the lead with 46 watches, myself at 43.
Have you seen number
George
one?
I'm gonna get there.
Okay,
George at 34, and then Seth is at 25, I think. Yeah. The leader is at 130. Good for you, Jaff. 130 logs.
Not real person. There's no
Not
way.
a real person.
Well, it is. No, he is a real person.
Yeah, good for you, Jaff. Jaff, if you're listening to this, like, I need to see the stats. So 261 hours watched. Next closest of that 67 logs, Mikey M, and then Trey 59. Maybe we shout out the leaderboard once a month, but I feel like the top three will remain similar. So maybe that's like incentive.
I don't want to shout him out. I don't know if that's a good thing. We shouldn't be encouraging that behavior.
That's crazy watches, Jack.
That's over four films a day on average.
Yeah, it's wild. Good for you.
How? Like
here's what I'll say. Some people are letterboxed log merchants, as I'm seeing, because so I'm in 14th with 43 watches. Caden is in 12th with 52 watches, but only 2 hours more than me. You're padding the stats with short films.
Getting on Owen Patnell's filmography. That's what he's
doing. Yeah. I'm just gonna log Owen's film 100 times. It's cheating. But we do rank based off of hours watched. So I appreciate that because I'm beating some people that have like 5 more movies watched, but you're padding the stats with short films. Go watch some Brutalists.
Go watch some real films.
Yeah, all the Zack Snyder. You gotta get credit for all those.
Zack Snyder helped me. The Brutalist helped me. Like I got those hours, baby. Yeah. I'm on that shit. My phone hours on screen time, not good, baby.
Mine is fucking horrific. Do you know when like you had your phone for a while and it starts to like slow and you're like, this is the end? I've been trying to I just don't want to get a new phone, but I think I'm gonna have to this week because it's just fucking slow now. It gets to a point after a while, you know what I mean, where it's just like, that's painful. But yeah, we will move on to our first.
Give me hard treats first.
Actually,
give me flight risk first. Whenever we
and
get
companion,
to that.
do your solo ones first.
So companion.
Y'all didn't see companion? Come on,
no, it doesn't look like I like it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's actually fine. Cam,
we'll
go companion first.
Fine, you touch on companion first. Go for it.
Did you have something to say though?
About companion?
No. I thought you were doing a like.
Oh no, I was going to do the Brutalist, but then I forgot you've got some films to.
Yeah. Give me. I really want to. I don't necessarily really want to talk flight risk, but I like talking shit movies. So companion. Companion's a fine movie, a movie I enjoyed. I was telling a friend yesterday, it's a movie, a 3.5 star is a movie I enjoy, but I knew every single bit that was going to happen. Like it's an extremely straightforward, thriller comedy. We'll call it. I don't know what the specific genre is. Basically here, let's do this right. Companion 2025. And give me a sec. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. So, find someone made just for you. A billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate. Companion, directed by Drew Hancock, starring Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Cage, a couple other people that you probably don't know. Rupert Friend. When are you in this thing?
Who?
Okay, Rupert Friend. He voices. He voices a Star Wars character. That's the only reason I know.
Rupert Friend.
The only Rupert I know is
Rupert Friend.
Yeah, he voices.
I know he's in Asteroid City and stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, he voices a Star Wars character, and I can't remember his name now. And he plays him in the live action version, but God damn it, that's gonna break my head. It's fine. So starring some people that you probably know, most likely Jack Quaid, Sophie Thatcher. I learned was in the Boba Fett show. She's like, if you've ever seen the clip of that guy spinning, she's one of those like gang members. So that's a funny pull if you're a Boba Fett fan. But this movie's it's fun. It's fine. So basically, Sophie Thatcher is an AI. I don't know like how much of this we got in the trailer. I knew she was an AI, but she's like a companion AI to basically serve Jack Quaid. So this universe, they have like sex robots basically. And she feels like love. She it's all the things of like the AI like can feel, right? So she feels love, she feels pain, she can do this, but she doesn't have self-will. So Jack Quaid can control her. Let's see. I don't know how much I want to spoil it before spoilers, but the twist is fun. I just don't know if it was in the trailer, and I didn't go back to look. But I kind of enjoyed the twist. So yeah, it's a fine movie. I think I gave it like a 69 out of 100, 3.5 stars. It's a fun one that you'll enjoy. Switching into spoilers real quick, Tyler, if you can hit me with the spoiler, and I'm going to spoil it for y'all. I won't watch it. So I don't know if this was in the trailer, but basically, I didn't know Jack Quaid knew she was an AI, and she didn't know she was an AI. So it's one of those situations where like she thinks she's a real person. She has these memories. And the night before they're having sex. And by the way, I've seen Jack Quaid fake an ejaculation way too much in my life. Between this, The Boys, I'm over it. Enough of that Jack Quaid like face. Nasty stuff. But then he's like, Lucy, go to sleep, and she just like stops talking, and so you think it's like they're just going to bed, and he's kind of an asshole. But then Sergey, who's the millionaire that they're staying at this guy's house, played by Rupert Friend, he goes and basically tries to sexually assault her before we realize she's a robot. And she kills him, and so apparently these robots aren't supposed to like kill, aren't supposed to be mean or anything. Jack Quaid has like modded her like an Xbox controller and made her like aggression a little bit higher to be like rougher in bed or something like that. And then like just makes her like ability to defend herself and stuff like that. I forget exactly why, but yeah, he kills her, or sorry, she kills him, the billionaire or millionaire, whatever. And then you find out, so the twist being like, you find out he actually unmodded her so that she would kill him so that they could steal his millions of dollars from this house, him and a friend. And then they have a third friend there who's also dating an AI, but you don't realize that till like halfway through. But that was like a fun twist. That's the only like one I didn't really see coming, is like, oh, they planned this whole thing. And then basically they were gonna blame it on her, like malware, like saying the AI went crazy or whatever. She escapes. It becomes this whole like thing of like, she becomes smart. Like, you can turn up their smartness setting to like a Harvard. I think they describe it as, they can't be like so smart they can take over the world, but like they can be like a Harvard graduate or something. Or they can be like dumb as rocks or whatever. You can make them whatever you want. So she turns her smartness setting up and all this. It becomes this chase. It's like fun little play on like abuse, because Jack Quaid's like, I own you, like I'm like, you're nothing without me, that sort of thing. So it's got like some not necessarily subtle hints, but like some pretty on the nose like abuse stuff, which I thought all worked. I enjoyed it. And then eventually, obviously, like, she wins and everything, and she becomes her own person. Like, she gets the ability to make her own decisions, that sort of thing. But it's just, it's a fun movie. It's fine. Again, I stand by. I'm not sure anyone's going to dislike this. And then, you get Owen's review, and I'm not sure he'll like anything. So I don't know what to tell you. I forgot about him. But I think if anyone goes to the theater, takes a significant other of any kind,
isn't it a comedy?
You'll enjoy your time.
Horror comedy, like horror comedy, isn't it?
I think that's what it's listed as. I would describe it more as like a thriller comedy. So it's a thriller comedy, sci-fi, horror is what it's listed as. It's pretty funny.
Horror comedies just have such a low hit rate for me, so I'm not sure.
It was pretty funny. Like, there are some good jokes, and a woman during the movie stood up and left, and I thought she was gone. She was sitting like 5 or 6 feet or rows away from me, or seats away from me. I thought she was gone. I was like, oh damn, you dislike it that much. Comes back in with a manager to tell on like people who are just laughing at the movie. Like, I didn't have a bad experience at all. But like, came back in with a manager, and that manager is like looking up at people that are just laughing, and he stands there for 5 minutes or so, and she walks back up to her seat, and she's clearly like pissed off. And like, the manager just like watches them for a little, and they don't do anything. They're laughing here and there at the jokes, and he's like, what is this batshit stuff going on? So he just leaves, and she's just sitting there pouting the rest of the movie, because I was like, what are you doing? They're just enjoying their time.
That's kind of weird.
But yeah, I've never seen that. I've never seen someone go get a manager. They were like pointing at him, and I'm like, what are we doing right now? But yeah, fine film. I think you go see it with a friend, significant other, yourself, whoever. You'll have a good time. It's an hour and a half. It's a breeze to get through. It's not a bad movie by any means. Maybe I'm a little high because it's early in the year, and I'm just giving it the benefit of the doubt. But I liked it. No complaints. Now, Flight Risk, ass.
I was gonna watch it, it came out a week before. Or it came out like a week and a half ago, and I was gonna watch it on our favorite website before the pod, and it was in Russian. So like, they filmed this, it was in Russian, and so if there's subtitles, the movie I was so uninterested in. I was like, if there's subtitles, I'll at least watch it. But there was no subtitles. It was in Russian, so that was all the effort I was gonna put in for Flight Risk. So Cam's letting me saw it.
Yeah, Flight Risk, whole lot of ass. Gets 1 star for Topher Grace is kind of funny in it. Like, he's got some comedic chops to that Topher Grace.
The Steelbook is also awesome for it.
Steelbook, yeah,
so cool. We still haven't got a physical release like fucking Killers of the Flower Moon, but we get fucking a 4K Steelbook for that. So crazy.
But Topher Grace kind of funny in this. But and I didn't know he was going to be in this movie, so he's like the first person you see, and I'm like, oh, what's up, Topher? Like, nice to see you. I thought it was just Mark Wahlberg. But basically, Topher Grace is some like maybe crazy economist who works for like a mobster or something, and they are transporting him via plane so he can testify against this person. And Mark Wahlberg hijacks the plane, and he acts like he's a good pilot taking them where they need to go, but really he's going to kill them. Whatever. The agent on board like finds out, and then they get into like one fight scene. that's one or two, one down the line, but like barely any fight scenes in this action thriller. Mark Wahlberg is in this movie for 3 minutes because he's knocked out for 90. No, he's in this movie for 3 minutes. He's nice guy pilot, and then he's discovered to be a bad guy. And then he's knocked out for the rest of the plane ride. And then he jaws with them for like 30 seconds, escapes the knockout, gets knocked out 1 second later. Again, like he's in this movie. I need to see his screen time because and maybe they're counting him in the background. He is not in this fucking movie like at all, man.
That's actually
it's insane.
That's like that had my jaw on the floor. That's awesome,
dude. I'm telling you,
that means the trailer basically like the y'all got a pilot. That's his only big moment.
91 minutes of film. I think his honest screen time is 7 minutes. I think its honest screen time is maybe 10 because he is in it a lot when he's like the nice pilot before he's discovered. Like, but he's never. Like he jaws with them a little here and there, but like he's sitting in the background while this woman is trying to fly the plane, and Topher Grace is there cracking jokes. Like it's I don't know, it's insanity how little he's in this movie. At
Isn't
one point they
AI at the start as well or something. I saw on Twitter. Like a big AI building at the start or something.
I have no idea, man. I don't know the flight risk controversy. But at one point they fly this dingy like plane, one person pilot plane, like through a snowbank, and it takes no damage at all. Meanwhile, I'm flying back from Boston on a big jet, and we hit 1 millimeter of wrong wind, and we're like bouncing up and down. This plane flew through a snowbank, and I was like, oh, they're just chilling. Yeah. But the craziest thing for me is that Mark Wahlberg gets knocked out 2 times in this movie and is just kind of detained. The way he does die, spoilers, if anyone cares. Like, I don't think anyone does. But the way he does die is he gets...
There we go.
Okay,
spoilers.
Spoilers. For flight risk, Mark Wahlberg does die. I guess I spoiled that one already. He gets thrown from the plane and ran over by multiple cars, and you see all of it. Hilarious death. But yeah, it's just Mel Gibson needs to be put in a home, man. It's over for him.
It is weird with Mel Gibson.
This dude directed Braveheart. What are we doing?
This is like his first film since like Hacksaw Ridge. It's a weird. Really weird film to take on.
He did he direct Hacksaw Ridge? No.
Yeah, he did.
Did he? Why?
Which I remember liking what back when I saw it, like the year came out, but I think
bad.
Andrew Garfield probably carried most of that.
I was only looking at the ones. I was only looking at the ones I'd seen. So that's my bad. That's on me. But yeah, Mel Gibson's lost it, man. He's cooked. He's like a Trump like Hollywood support or like a Hollywood like advisor.
He's a right-wing grifter. That's literally what he is.
Well, I know that, but like on top of that, he's also cooked in the directing field. So like, I don't know how you choose this person to
it's a very weird
campaign when he sucks, but it'll probably make billions of dollars, and it has a cool steelbook.
Will it?
I don't know, man. It's probably not making anything.
I mean, how many people were in your theater when you saw it?
It was more packed than The Brutalist. I'll say that.
What?
It was a much smaller theater.
Hell, man,
way more packed than The Brutalist. Not as packed as Companion. Not as packed as Companion. But yeah, just an awful movie. Worst of the year so far. What did I give it? A 21 out of 100. 21 of those points for Topher Grace. Kind of funny. But,
it's up to 21 million, and the first headline, if you Google flight risk box office, is flight risk to soar over the competition. So it's doing well. Dogman also kind of crazily.
Dogman's doing crazy numbers.
Yeah. I don't know what Dogman is.
I think it's a kids show that's now a movie adaptation, but it seems like it's doing well. Cam had to step away, but I was going to ask him if he's ever seen Chris Klemmer's reviews on TikTok of movies, but I'll have to ask him that when he comes back. He's a guy that works at Barstool, and he's like watching every movie in theaters the whole year, and then reviews them in a very weird squatting position. But I don't know, he's probably like 50, if I had to guess, 45, 50. But he saw Dogman. I was like laughing because I was like, I didn't think he'd see every movie, but it's a kid movie. He's like, yeah, I'm like a 50-year-old man going to see a kid's movie. So I went to like the 10 p.m. showing, so I'd be the only one there. So I'm not just like accused by people.
Why is there a
moms of being
10
a creep.
p.m. showing of that anyway?
Exactly. I don't know. But no, apparently it's doing crazy well. And apparently, like, from the few reviews of people I've seen who like actually like respect, they're all like, actually, it's like almost like a Bluey situation, but not as big. Where people are like, low key, like this movie, not bad.
This fucking
Dude, yeah, that mobility, my knees. I tore my MCL
My
in
knees
seventh
are
grade.
gone.
I would be dead if I had to do that. But yeah, he reviews every movie in that position. So unreal knee mobility out of that guy.
That is crazy, knee mobility. Like, I would not be able to do that at all.
Should we brutalize this podcast now?
Yeah, we should brutalize this. So, our review of the week, well, big one, The Brutalist, finally really. When did it release for you? What was the date?
I think the official release date was the 24th.
Okay.
For wide release here.
Okay, so yeah, no, I think that was about the same as us. I saw it on the 28th. I think on what day would that be?
That was Tuesday, and then I saw it back on like the 3rd, and then I saw it again this weekend. But
did you rewatch it though?
Yeah, the release, but that's why like I'm not confident. I think it was the 24th when release here because it slowly trickled out to more and more theaters.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like avidly tweeting about it so much about wanting to see it, and I think a lot of people have as well. I'll just kind of run through the synopsis. Directed by Brady Corbet. Obviously, I think his like 3rd feature film, or maybe I think this is 3rd. I might be wrong about that. Escaping post-war Europe, visionary architect Laszlo Toth arrives in America to rebuild his life, his work, and his marriage to his wife, Elizabeth, after being forced apart during wartime by shifting borders and regimes. On his own, in a strange new country, Laszlo settles in Pennsylvania, where the wealthy and prominent industrialist, God, I can't speak today, Harrison Lee Van Buren recognizes his talent for building, but power and legacy comes at a heavy cost. Like Tyler said, he's seen this twice. We all got a chance to watch it. I obviously saw it on Tuesday, starring Adrian Brody, Felicity Jones, Guy Pearce, Joe Alwyn, Stacey Martin, yada, yada, yada. 2 of which have been nominated for an Oscar, Adrian Brody and Guy Pearce, which we'll discuss as well. Tyler, if you want to give kind of, I guess, spoiler-free, brief thoughts, and then we'll go into this whole shebang.
Am I correct? Didn't Felicity Jones get nominated too?
Oh, did she? Maybe she did actually.
Maybe I'm making that up.
The Brutalist.
I thought all 3 of them got nominated.
She might have been.
Yeah, she did.
Felicity Jones did. Okay, interesting.
Yep, so those 3 got nominated. So yeah, so I went on. So shout out Looks Like a Movie podcast. I went on their podcast last weekend to talk. Well, I guess so. Tuesday's episode. So 6 days ago to talk The Brutalist and Presence. Very last minute, like as in like a couple hours before recording. Owen's like, "Shit, we need someone on. You want to join?" So I'm like, "Sure." So I wanted to. In my mind, I was like, I saw The Brutalist a while ago. It's such a mammoth of a movie. I need to rewatch it before the ReelTok podcast, which I did. But I would have liked to rewatch it before then. So then I kind of went in blind. I was like, I'm not on my A game for The Brutalist. Talked it for a long time. That was like a 3-hour episode with Doug and Owen. K-Meeks is not there. But we chatted The Brutalist. So it was very fascinating, I guess, to watch it, talk about it for like an hour and a half with a bunch of people that I respect their opinions and think they're very knowledgeable on film, and then go back and watch it again. There's a lot of movie here, and then it's a 3.5-hour movie when you include intermissions. It's just a touch over 3 hours.
It's not that long, really. Is it
really is. When you add an intermission in a film too, it kind of whizzes by.
Yeah,
because it's basically like 2 very short films then, and like in terms of like 80 minutes, and then the intermission is like, oh shit, okay. So it kind of does fly by with that intermission.
It's like 3 hours 20, maybe, not including intermission. Like that. It's not that long.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I use the bathroom in the intermission. It's fine. And I think we talked about this on their podcast too. It's like intermissions are, if it works thematically, like I think it works very well in this, to where it's like there's a clear part 1, part 2. But like Killers of the Flower Moon, how like some movie theaters were just like throwing in a random intermission halfway, like that just like totally ruins.
Did they do that?
Yeah, I don't know if it was America, but I think it was overseas. There's like some theaters that just like decided to throw in an intermission, and then like the Apple TV Plus or whatever production studio had to come out and be like, "Yo, you guys need to stop this. This is like not allowed. You can't just throw in an intermission." But for this one, it clearly works. It's clear two very strong parts, and I think Brady Corbet, since I don't know, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I kind of read his interviews and think that he's kind of like a little bit of a smug, smarmy kind of guy. So I think it was totally his intention to have the intermission solely not because of the long film, but because thematically how different part 1 and part 2 is. He was like, oh yeah, I want people to go out in the lobby and talk for 15 minutes and be like, yeah, this is like so optimistic and hopeful and such a fun, like awesome movie, purposefully to like have that be a part of the movie going experience almost. So then come back in the second half and things fall apart. But again, we won't spoil too much yet because this is kind of like a really hard movie to talk about in the sense that it's 3.5 hours long and there's just so much movie here that's like, how do you even like start to attack it? But I'll just go very high level thoughts. I think the movie looks great. I think the cinematography, there's a lot of texture to it, the landscapes, the architecture, very well done. I think a lot of the shots, even the ones that people have seen in the trailers, obviously the Statue of Liberty shot, the smoking with the spark shot, like there's just so many moments in this movie where you're just like, yeah, this is cool stuff right here. The score, I think, should run, like compared to the nominees that they nominated the Oscars, I think it should run away with best score. I think it is so fantastic. Not nearly as score heavy as I expected.
It's not as score heavy as I expected. I was going to mention that, but it's really not.
Because the trailer made me think it was going to be like almost like a Ludwig Göransson Oppenheimer, where it's like this score is like pummeling you the whole time. So it's very tastefully used. And then the epilogue, it becomes like almost like Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross type score, where it's like club music. So very solid score. I've crap, I don't know his name. Volker Berkman, is that the guy who did the score? I don't know, but nominated. I think he deserves to win. Music, Daniel Blumberg. Never mind. Volker, I don't know. I think that's Conclave's guy. But Daniel Blumberg, incredible score. I think Adrian Brody is really good. I think a little bit of my not thinking he's exceptional is almost just had a consequence of how good Adrian Brody is. Whereas like it's like Leonardo DiCaprio at that point, where it's like you go into a movie, you're like, Adrian Brody was how I expected him to be in this film, which is really, really good. But it's like when I see Adrian Brody in a movie, I'm expecting him to be, some of the best performance I'll see all year. Guy Pearce was phenomenal, though. I haven't seen nearly enough Guy Pearce movies. I rewatched Memento recently, which he kind of hated on his performance in a tweet the other day, where he's like, he's like, I don't think I was that good in it, which is like Christopher Nolan, which read to me as such like a sad boy in the corner of the room. He's like, yeah, I guess I wasn't that good in Memento, and that's why Christopher Nolan's not inviting me back. It's like, come on, Guy Pearce, you did great in that movie. But he's so fantastic in this. He's obviously nominated for an Oscar for it, and I think he's deserving of that. But rewatch specifically, and let me just pull up the cast, look at these names. The more minor supporting cast members really stood out to me even stronger. Obviously, I love Joe Alwyn on the first watch. I think he's probably my favorite performance of the film, but I more mean like even the smaller stuff, like his cousin Attila, Alessandro Nivola. He's only in the movie for like the first 50-ish minutes. His wife as well. I think Google is saying Vanessa Kirby, but it was definitely not Vanessa Kirby. So maybe at one point in time,
Emma Laird, Audrey, was that her name?
Yeah, I thought she was great as well. Yeah, I think all these like minor supporting cast members, I think everyone's performance in this movie is really fantastic, except I don't like Felicity Jones in this. I don't think she's that good. But Joe Alwyn's my favorite. I think Adrian Brody and Guy Pearce are both fantastic as well and deserving of their nominations. But for me, the movie, it's the clear two-parter. You get the first half where it's setting up this immigrant story of Laszlo Toth coming to America with a background in architecture, very successful in Eastern Europe, and now he's coming to America, trying to find his way. And he gets to work with his cousin at like a furniture shop, and he gets to start exercising his artistic bones in his body and in a way to make money and have a career out of it. Things kind of fall apart there. Again, I'll keep it more high level for now. So yeah, comes to America, immigrant story, optimistic. Second half, start to see some dark elements of that, and then things take a turn. But score fantastic, editing, the way it looks, great. A lot of the performances are awesome. I think the second half didn't work for me nearly as much as the second time as the first time. I still give it a 4-star. The first time I started to give it 4.5. This time I give it a 4-star. I think a lot of it just has to do with just like dissecting the movie more, reading more about it, talking with people about it, like the Looks Like a Movie podcast fellas, and getting their takes on some things, and just reading other people's criticisms as well, and then going in to watch it a second time after all that in my mind, and then seeing kind of how it holds up at that point. And I think some of the stuff fell flat for me on the second half of the film. But yeah, I'll leave it there. I give it a 4-star. I think it's a very good movie. I think it's deserving of a lot of the praise it's getting, especially for the shoestring budget it used.
Crazy.
But yeah, we'll dissect a whole lot more once we get the spoilers tag up. So what was your thoughts, Seth?
Well, We'll go to Cam first.
I had my Wikipedia blocking Cam's face. So I didn't see if he was back yet.
Cameron is
my
back.
apologies.
No, I like what you said. I enjoyed this movie. I didn't love it as much as some people. I don't think it's, Oscar amazing, but I still think it had a lot of standout things. The score, like you mentioned, Tyler, is really, really great. I like Joe Alwyn, and I really like Guy Pearce. I think Felicity Jones is fine. Not a best actress or best supporting actress. Fine. Like she's nominated for it, but I think she's fine. I don't hate her by any means. And I feel the same about Adrian Brody. Nothing blew me away here. Really, as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, he's doing his job. He's there. He's collecting his check. He's doing just fine. But I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, he's, the best actor of the year or in contention for it. Necessarily. Like I like a lot of other performances better than him. We'll see if he wins. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But yeah, I think for me, obviously it's like I said way earlier in the pod, I was quite tired during this. It's definitely not a movie I'm gonna love just in my nature. It doesn't have any superheroes, so it's throwing me off there. But I think
quick question to interject on that. Sorry to cut into you. Did either of you think at any point in this time Laszlo Toth was a real person? Because I'm not afraid to admit I thought he was a real person.
I thought well, I don't know. Someone asked me if it was based on a true story, and I was like, I don't know. It could be. I'm not sure. So like I didn't.
I've just seen no one come out publicly and be like, I thought he was a real person and pulled the rug out on me. And I've had private conversations with other people that have said they did think that. So no one's
I think it's believable.
Courageous enough to say it out loud.
I only knew that he wasn't because I had done research on the film previously. So I just
it's like a Lydia Tarr moment.
It's very. I said that in my review. This is like There Will Be Blood, like Daniel Plainview, Lydia Tarr, that kind of like fictitious biopic. Very much comes across as like is set out like that. So I can completely understand why people would think it was a true story for sure.
Yeah. No, but I'm not gonna say I necessarily thought he was a real person, but I didn't know. I didn't do enough research, I guess. I think you see a little bit of that darkness in the first half that you were talking, Tyler. Like the first half is very like coming to America and having the American dream, so to speak, having some, issues, but eventually, getting that like right. So what's Guy Pearce's character's name? Harrison
Van Buren.
Harrison
something Van Buren.
Harrison?
Yeah,
Harrison Van. No, that's no wait. Harry.
Harrison Lee Van
Joe.
Buren.
Harry's Joe. Okay, and then Harrison Van Buren is his
yeah.
Okay, so he's like a junior-esque. Okay. Yeah, he's this asshole who eventually gives Adrian Brody's character Laszlo a chance. But you see this like darkness of Laszlo. Like obviously, I think it's after he gets the second chance is when you see him at the club doing heroin, or is that right before? Can't necessarily remember, but you have some dark moments in the first half. And then when the intermission hits, first off, shout out an intermission. I don't hate an intermission, like go take a pee, go get a refill on the drink, whatever it may be. I didn't do any of those. I just kind of started texting people, but for my Subway Surfer brain, I like a little intermission here. It definitely, it was cool with me. And then, I'll be honest, whole first half, I'm like, where the fuck's Felicity Jones? Like, is she even in this movie? And then, obviously she comes in the second half almost immediately. But it's just a movie that I went in. I had my time with it. I didn't love it enough for me to, rate it super highly. And I don't think it's a super accessible film for like general audience. I think it's like easy to watch, but when you get that intermission and you get a 3.5 hour movie, I think it's ultimately just not going to be something that a lot of people go and see. So when I was in the theater, I think there were 2 other people in this massive theater with me, and I don't think people are going to go see this thing, and I think it's going to be one of those that possibly wins Best Picture at the Oscars, and people just start complaining again that the Oscars are like super pretentious and no one cares about these movies, and that sort of annoying discussion that we have every couple of years. But yeah. It's a good movie. 68 out of 100. Nothing major in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll try and keep it like short and sweet, as Tyler said, 'cause I think there's a lot to go into. It's a tricky one. First of all, I want to say that making this for 10 million is insane. Like, I think that's such
That's
a
very
feat.
impressive.
It's
Especially with all the AI they're using.
What on the AI note, I think it was actually like one scene or like one line.
It was. I'm
or
just
something
being
like
an
that.
asshole.
Oh, okay.
I'm just being an ass.
No, but there are some people who like. I think the AI conversation is an interesting one, as we know. And I think there's some people who believe that, like, you know, when it originally came out, that they use it in like all the films, especially like the dialogue and stuff like that, when it's not the case. Yeah, I think that making it for 10 million is insane. I think it's possibly the shortest 3.5 hour film ever made. It flew by to some extent in a way that I wanted to some not. I think it's very, very bold. It's, you know, huge scale. There are moments which, as Tyler alluded to, have been showcased previously and that I saw previously, but still hit to the same token expected. So like the Statue of Liberty shot, so contextually fitting, so on the nose, but I think in a way that works really well with the context of the film. And actually, I found it brilliant. Kind of how the inverted comes into play with like the grainy footage. Amazing. I think the whole film looks fantastic. I love the barren grain to it all. I think we have these moments of hardship. Laszlo Toss, it's really, really a biopic formula where it spreads across so many years, and especially when we get into the ending, which we'll talk about. And it really is, like, as Cam said, like this, I guess, reimagining of the American dream. Reimagining of the American dream post the World War, and kind of the I think I said in my review, like the myth making machine that surrounds it, and almost turning on his head. Showcases of like these amazing architectural works, which I think are very fitting again contextually with the film in terms of this artistic feat, but also wanting to do more, and very much sentiments of post-war migration, some being more modern centric. It's very like I said before, very like a fictitious biopic, kind of fits within the frame of like a Tar or There Will Be Blood or whatever. I think it's difficult because I think there's a lot of stuff presented where I kind of need to watch it again. I am kind of fitting within the, I guess, the majority opinion, or maybe not majority, because I think a lot of people love it, but I did like the first half much more than I like the second. And the second poses things without having any forceful statement, whether political or not. I don't really think it says much. I think a lot of the stuff are kind of thrown in, and there's kind of this like frankness and bluntness to a lot of the ideas that kind of, I guess, try and show itself as grandiose as the rest of the film, but don't really. It kind of just relies on its ambiguity with a lot of the things. There's a lot of, I guess, not particularly controversy, but I often think a lot of the historical notions that can't be removed and are so fitting within that and have to be within the frame. I do think Adrian Brody is. I loved Adrian Brody. I think he's actually really, really great. He's probably my second favorite best actor of last year. And I think Guy Pearce is amazing as well. Really love Guy Pearce. He probably my favorite performance in this. Phyllis Jones, I'm not like crazy high on. I didn't think she was like bad by any means, but yeah, whatever, just kind of there. Yeah. Joe Alwyn's cool, very punchable guy. He's incredibly punchable.
Is Joe Alwyn ex of Taylor Swift? Is that why I know the name? Okay, cool.
Oh, that's really okay. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, they were together for like long ass time.
Yeah,
7 years or something. I don't know. But did you guys see Kinds of Kindness?
Yeah,
I have not.
So Joe Alwyn's like low key typecast is like just like that vile, punchable kind of dude.
Wait, who was he? Kind of awesome. Remind me.
He was also in The Favorite, so he's always kind of.
Yeah, I can't remember what he was.
He was in the second one, and he was like Emma Stone's boyfriend, who like.
With police officer. Yes.
So same in The Favorite, like he's always like that punchable asshole, which is kind of just an awesome typecast character for him.
Yeah. Dude, he looks suave in this, man. He looks like a suave Bella in this.
He does. Yeah, like tries to throw like a lot of moral quandaries our way in terms of not only philosophically and around the American dream, but also artistically as well. I don't know if that much of it works in the second half. I actually think a lot of the imagery is quite gratuitous in one particular scene that we'll go on to, kind of used as a plot driver. I don't actually think is needed nor works. But I love the first half. Like the first half, when we got to the intermission, I was like, shit, it's been like, what, 2 hours? I felt like 10 minutes. I was like, that is amazing. Such a grandiose opening, really well structured, beautifully shot. Like Tyler said, with the score as well. It's not as, I mean, the score is amazing, but it's really not as score heavy and reliant as expected. It's very much an undertone for a lot of it. But I'll kind of
it's a complete opposite of Conclave, which is also nominated for best score, which I know you hadn't seen it, but it's like a moment will happen and then like bang, the orchestral would be the loudest thing ever. I'm like, okay, this is very score for total opposite of that.
There's definitely moments in this, but it's very an undercurrent for much of it. But I'll kind of leave it there for, I guess, spoiler free. So I gave it a 3.5. Cam gave it a 3.5.
68 out of 100.
60 out of 100. There you go. And Tyler gave it a 4.5, but then dropped it to a 4 on rewatch. Is that right?
Yep.
I mean, I guess where do we kind of want to start? Is there any particular moments in the first intermission we want to touch on? Right for you?
Yes. You'd think I'd be better about this since I already did a podcast on it, but it's just such like I don't really know how to attack the film. But I guess you can start with him coming to America.
So I mean, he comes to America, post-war. Again, kind of the search for American dream. He has been separated from Elizabeth, his wife, who is also at the time with his niece. Is his niece? Yeah, his niece.
Yep.
Well, the strokes of grid there. He's kind of in a space where he is a previous architect, very high up, did some of the biggest landscapes and stuff in terms of his buildings and what he created in his home country. He meets Attila, who has been in America for, I think they said like 15 years, something around that time, obviously during the Second World War, etc. What's his relation again?
Cousin.
Yeah. But they were like really close as kids, I think, right?
So yeah. But he's been in America for such a long time. It's kind of like that.
I'm trying to think now that I say that, I'm trying to think if I'm thinking a Real Pain or The Brutalist, which I also watched this week.
I think they're both accurate in terms of they're both cousins.
I think they're both
aren't so close.
They were close when they were in. Yeah, I think when you were in Hungary, I think that's the case.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because as I said that, I'm like, maybe that's a Real Pain.
No. And then what happens after that? So then he starts staying with them. He has like I guess, what would you call his?
Like a furniture shop?
Yeah, like a furniture shop, whatever. And then I think not far into it, we kind of meet Joe Alwyn the first time because he comes by to suggest an idea to Attila for something he wants made for his dad, played by Guy Pearce. And they're a really rich family, and he wants like a library built for his dad, who obviously is, would want to use it as a present per se. Obviously they're like a really rich family. They go across to, I think, like assess it, give him a quote, give him an idea. Obviously Laszlo is a previous architect, so he kind of has an understanding of the materials. I like how he says materials, by the way, very potent. I remember, really, really cool. So he kind of gives the idea, to give the idea across, to get a quotation of it. Joe Alwyn basically says, yeah, to get it set up. Am I missing anything before that? Any big moments? I'm trying to think now.
I think we're there at this point. I think the big difference, I guess, between him and his cousin is, well, obviously he's fresh into America, but his cousin is like completely assimilated into American culture. The fact that he has like an American wife, he's converted away from Judaism to now Catholicism. I believe.
Yeah.
And kind of has ditched a lot of his culture previously, which is just kind of like a big contrast to something later, which is like the niece and her dilemma of staying or leaving. But
almost like he's like
important to note.
He's like fully committed to the American dream, like business,
fully bought in. Owns his store that's doing well, so he's on his path to the American dream,
exactly,
like Laszlo. But the difference is he's fully like ditched his previous life, and
left Judaism, joined Catholicism, which is obviously a big step, and they have a conversation about that. So I think a lot of the big moments in the first half come after the scene I'm about to mention now. Yeah. So they get going on the library. Cool fucking library, by the way. Really nice setup.
I was gonna say hot take. It looks bad.
No.
It looks like ass.
Cool. It looks completely unfunctional.
It does.
I would kill my kid. Library in the middle of a.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a good library, but actually it looks cool.
No, I think it looks cool.
Not enough screens.
Thing at the top and stuff.
I would never want it in my house, though. unless he gave me like a desk in there or something, or a comfier chair.
They have so many rooms, you know, so it doesn't even like probably bother.
Yeah.
It's fine. So they start doing it, and this is kind of where we meet Guy Pearce's character for the first time. He
Mother's
obviously
dying, he's pissed off.
Yeah, so his mom's dying at the time that he kind of gets home and sees like a bunch of construction going on. There's obviously a bunch of guys outside.
Also a racist person.
Well, yeah, we didn't because obviously at this point. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. The first introduction we get to one of the kind of the most primary side characters is Gordon. The first introduction we have with Gordon, I think, is previous to this, where they're outside like a food bank, line of food, and then kind of Laszlo. It's that kind of whole showcase of giving. He kind of says to him, you know, they don't have any food. He says to him, he'll wait, you know, to collect it for them, whatever. And they kind of almost strike up that kind of working relationship from there, understand each other at that point. So he meets him, and then Gordon is helping with the construction of the library. Guy Pearce gets home. Obviously, his mom's dying. He's devastated. He kind of takes all his stress and frustrations out on a surprise, primarily. He doesn't like surprises. We kind of learned that. And he's not happy with the library. Great, cool. Then what happens is he sends him away. Yada, yada, yada. A couple of days go by. Attila says to wake Sadie and Brody up and says two things at this point. One of them is about him making a pass at his wife, which we didn't see happen. And we anticipate didn't happen.
I think it was like the dancing scene, right? Where he's like dancing with her, and that's what he's saying is the pass.
No, but it was more referred to, I think, that she told him that, wasn't it? To get him out.
Yeah,
that was the main thing.
She told him something, and
yeah, okay.
She told, yeah. And then the other thing is that Joe Alwyn's character, whatever his name is, Harry, has said that he isn't paying for the library, so they basically just wasted, you know, a bunch of materials.
Because they dropped the sky roof on like a gutter, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They damaged the house,
yeah.
so they're not
damaged the house, so they're not paying it. Cool. And obviously, this is a massive thing. Like I think the quote was it like 4,000 or maybe more?
2,000.
2,000, which is in
1950.
Was it the 50s yet?
I don't know the exact.
Isn't it just post World War II?
Give me a sec. I don't know the exact date.
It was just post World War II, wasn't it?
1947.
Yeah, 47. That makes sense. 2 years off.
1947.
Yeah. So
that's 1953.
So yeah, 2,000,
which is about 30 grand worth of today's money.
Thank you. Nice. So it's a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money for them. And then basically Attila, this is kind of the end of his segment, pretty much. Sends him away per se because again, made he pass his wife, lost him a bunch of money. Cool, whatever. And then we see kind of Laszlo's life really take a turn. This is again kind of the myth-making machine and pointing in of the American dream and kind of down the up and down cycle of it. He starts working as a what do you call it?
It seemed like a shipyard, railroad yard, something.
Yeah, like he's like working with coal, a lot of coal on cranes, alongside Gordon, and they stay in like this kind of communal place. This is where we kind of get more of an insight into his addiction with heroin and kind of the need of it almost alongside. It's really sad actually alongside Gordon. And then kind of a little bit of time passes by. Eventually, Guy Pearce comes to his workplace alongside the coal, which is a cool scene. Picks him up and says, do you want to come for dinner or whatever? Or a drink or whatever he says. They go for a drink and basically Guy Pearce pays him for the work he had done previously on the library, and then says that I think at this point he says he wants him to come to the house, doesn't he? Or is that another point?
Yeah.
He said he's going to pick him up and they're going to go to the house.
Like invited him to a dinner.
There's some dinner thing,
Yeah. So he, then we basically get that scene where kind of Laszlo goes back to the house. It's a very weird environment. A lot of people are very sort of patronizing towards him, almost like treating him as the little guy, especially when it comes to the son and daughter. It's a kind of a big dinner setting. I can't remember what was the dinner about.
I can't remember what it was. It might have been a rich person dinner. I don't know, because it wasn't his birthday. It wasn't
special.
Wasn't about his mom. No, wasn't it not about his mom?
It could have been.
Let's see if I can find it.
She just died. Obviously, that's what.
Because there's multiple like dinners and multiple like gatherings in this movie, and I can't remember what that specific one
rich
is
people
like.
Shit.
Yeah, just rich people shit.
It's. I think it's just a dinner in Laszlo's honor for the
library.
the architecture in the library. Yeah, because Harrison's playing it as like I discovered this guy kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, we have this scene where they kind of engage in conversation. There's a lot of introductory. His Guy Pearce's lawyer, he's like attorney at the time, who works in a firm, says that he will help to bring Elizabeth and I can't remember the niece's name to America because that's the struggle they're having. Obviously, there's a while in between this that it actually, Sophia. There's a while actually between this that it does actually end up happening, isn't there? And then he like says, he wants to go on a walk because he's got a surprise for everyone. The NP says that he wants to make what would you call it? Like
a community center,
community center.
Yeah, it's like a church with the gym, with the library, with all kinds of stuff.
Dedicated almost to his mom, and but it's a huge scale thing. Like this is no small feat. This is like architecture at its finest, and some of the ideas have in place. And he basically says to Laszlo, I want you to do it. This is like kind of the big moment. And one of the big things is him almost accepting a role. He says that he'll have a place to stay on their kind of grounds, in which he has like a guest house of sorts, and everything in his need to build this huge structure. What happens between now and the intermission? I'm trying to remember.
All that there really is like basically the lawyer's like, we just need to get a picture of your wife and niece, and then we'll be good to go. And they kind of snap the picture, and that's what the intermission picture is.
Is it not prior to this? Then when they're told they need to. Oh no, I don't think. No, you're right. Because then, we need a picture of Elizabeth, and then he sends obviously a letter back across. They send him back over it. And does the intermission kick in now, or is it something before her?
Yeah, intermission kicks in then, and then it picks up with the train picking them up.
Okay,
after. But kind of the big thing before the intermission was walking to the hill and saying like, this is what we're going to build here, which I think I've seen
lays the foundation almost for in two ways, for the building and also
there you go.
Thing. It's almost like we've hit a point of optimism, like Cam said and like Tyler said as well, where again the whole thing is surrounding this American dream. We've hit this point of optimism where Laszlo has kind of been through, at the start like a small high, then a big low, and now a massive high where his skill and his artistic ability is finally almost being recognized. Now he's in America, which is one thing we should know again is a struggle because of propaganda that's coming out around Jewish people at the time, around the era. It's going to be a struggle for him to not only bypass that, but also bypass being a foreigner and getting work this big. So it's something so massive. So this is like the peak of the American dream almost that he's kind of hit at this point,
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on like the highs and the lows, because I feel like a lot of people when they talk about this film, they talk about how like part one is so optimistic and positive, and then part two takes such a negative turn. But like part one, I think has some communication with part two with the negative downturns, because it shows like how quickly the American dream can be snatched from you. Because first off with the cousin, like, damn man, love you, bro. Like I'm so happy we're back in each other's lives. And then all of a sudden he's just like, yo, you took a swipe at my wife, get the fuck out of my like so out of the blue. And then boom, rug pulled. Then he's like, okay, well I'm on my own. Same thing with the library. Even though Cam wasn't a big fan of how it looked, Laszlo was like, this is like exactly what I want it to be. I love this. And then boom, snatched away from him when the guy's like, dude, get out of my house. I don't want any of this. So it's like you get kind of the highs and lows of like, he's like, damn, this is exactly what everything I thought it was going to be, then completely snatched away from him. So it's kind of like a little roller coaster. And then at the end of part one is like the big high where it's like, I'm getting like something bigger than I've ever made in my life. This massive years spanning project that's going to employ tons of people. This lawyer's bringing my wife to town and my niece in town. We're going to get free rent and a nice house and this nice property. Going to get all the resources I need. So it's like a nice roller coaster that gets you there. And at this point now it's like finally his wife see me coming, but
because it opens. So we have the intermission for 15 minutes or whatever, and then it opens up directly with him at the station. No, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
meeting his wife and his
picking
niece,
up Urzhabet,
and then seeing that his wife is now in a wheelchair due to the starvation, I think, and the famine, and then we got a whole bunch of stuff. Something they reintroduce. I will say a lot of for me, some of the big, I guess, emotional releases actually rendered fairly cold at points. Didn't really hit as much as I was kind of expecting, especially between the dynamic of both of them and kind of that control between them and that characterization dynamic. Didn't hit that much for me in the second half. But obviously, we'll go into some of the big moments. And then, I mean, I guess where do we go from here? What happens after that? They introduce them, they go back.
And then they
have
like,
another
start on the
dinner.
project.
Yeah, they have another rich people shit. Have another dinner, kind of like an introductory dinner almost to Elizabeth and the niece. Who
and again, like every time they have these dinners, like they treat Laszlo and his wife as like they're like I don't know, like the weird ass comparison. But I keep thinking of it like you see on Instagram now, like these fake AI accounts of like celebrities where you can just talk. It's like you just pick and probe, like, oh, what was it like living in the war over there? And it's like they just expect you to like. Anything they ask you, just like give me an answer. What do you want? Like what's it like living during Nazi rule? Like just like the most like cold questions.
Like, what the fuck do you think it was like? You know, they treat him like they treat him like second class citizens because that's what they are to them. And they're almost so foreign that they're so curious, but in such a negative attitude in a negative way. So they have this dinner, they have the introduction. I'm trying to think what moves of this. I don't want to miss any big moments. I mean, this is kind of where it goes into more of just the whole planning side of it.
Into the construction and everything.
The start of the construction on the hill.
There's early on in the construction. There's the conversation between Joe Alwyn and Adrian Brody where it starts to really take I feel like the beginning of the dark turn is when like Harry starts to be like, you guys are being tolerated by us, like you're not.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like that's like the big because at that point, like the family's together, they're living together. Like, oh, this is nice. We're in a rich area, and then like Joe Alwyn just comes in. He's like, don't forget, like we're tolerating you. You're not living here like equals.
And I mean, there's a very vast difference, I would say, in the way that Guy Pearce communicates with Laszlo throughout the film, and how he continues to kind of on this downward trajectory. Like immediately at the start, we have this, volatile blowout almost at the time. Because he's like releasing all the stress on them, and then we get a completely different side to him when he introduced himself and when he wants Laszlo to take on the project. And one thing of note is, when we look at the conversation they have at the dinner, when it's just like those two, the first dinner they had, it's very communicative between them. He's not like talking down to them. He actually feels as though it's an intellectual conversation. He feels as though he gained something from his opinions and his thoughts based on his ideas. And there's a stark difference between, I guess, their relationship in the way that he talks to them in terms of there is a lack of trust, I would say, furthering on in the project. Obviously, someone else comes in by the name of, what was his name?
I had
it. Jim? He's like a Jim Simpson.
Michael F.
Yeah.
Got you.
He's like the financial advisor sort of thing. Yeah. He gives ideas. There's a lot going wrong. It's almost like you have this battle of a big thing as well is now Laszlo's risen to the top and he's kind of come from this architectural background. It's very much a battle of his ego.
It's still like it's I don't know what the word of it is of like you have this immigrant who is very clearly very qualified, but yet you're still relying on the white people that you know and you are,
they have these like
you have a relationship with, like you have this person who's extremely qualified, but it's just it's like a commentary on race and like just how much he actually values Laszlo a little bit.
Funny moment when Laszlo's like having this conversation about this gym's like we can't do this, we can't do that. It's insane to even think we can get away with this. And then Laszlo, they kind of have an argument, and Laszlo's like, "Come here," and he makes him like come to the side on his own. He says something like, "Everything you do is shit," or something like that. And then Jim just gets so angry. And it's like it almost becomes a place where they have so much trustees. They're not trusting Laszlo with the project, even though he's fully qualified. Like Cam said, that he has to battle with his own ego at that stage. And it gets so big for him because he's like, you guys aren't letting me do what I can do, and I can do better than any of you can. I have, you've seen what I've made previously and kind of the artistic endeavors that I've had. So it really is that battle between personalities, because you have that guy who's like in charge of like the costs and stuff like that, and there's constant conversation about the budget, keep building. We did miss actually a cool moment where he pitches the initial idea and he has the model with the cross, and they're all like, that's like a big moment. One of the main things, the main attractions towards this is the cross. And the way you can showcase that, I think it's like when the sun comes from like east to west or whatever, there'll be a cross lit down that'll shine through in the whatever it's what's it called?
It's like right at the front of like the chapel or something. I don't know.
Chapel. Yeah, the chapel. And that's kind of a big moment. That's kind of almost the selling point for this thing that they've introduced it in kind of a Catholic way in the actual building itself. And then, it's so big, there's so much entity here.
The model was awesome though, because like
cool.
It's an all-time thing that like you see so often in movies, and just like when you're not working in a career where it's like it's the same when I watch like How I Met Your Mother. It's like, man, being an architect would be awesome. Like, you can make these models of things and then build them, but then like when you actually grow up, you realize like, oh, 99.9% of your job is going to be like computer work, like calculate, like boring stuff, like the cool fun stuff, like making these models, and then actually like seeing the finished product. That's like only a sliver, but that looks so fun. And so like you have like this model, you could like move it as modular.
I love model. I love like model cities and like little model towns.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Cool. But yeah, and then obviously the kind of going back and forth at this point. Again, we see a lot of moments with both Gordon and Adrian. Kind of Laszlo are looking for kind of a fix. Constantly asking about that. There's a lot of conversation between Adrian, fucking Laszlo, and his wife as well. A lot of moments with both of them in bed, especially kind of the uncomfortability of it all, and the unknown, and kind of what they face. And it's almost like Laszlo doesn't really know what he's going into with these people. I think it's a big moment in time. I'm trying to think, what are the big moments that we missed before they go to thingy?
Well, so what causes them to go? Are you talking about when they go to like Italy or?
Yeah.
There's the train derails. So like the train carrying all, or not all, but like their next batch of materials to build derails.
And there's a bunch of like legal stuff going on that Harrison's got to pay for, and he
quits the project basically. He's like scraps it. He's like, we're done.
Yeah,
like, it's going to be such a legal headache, financial headache. And this part reminded me a lot of Honora, honestly, where like basically Laszlo's like, this is just like one bump in the road. We can get through this. We can keep building. But Van Buren was so like, no, too much like we're done, it's over, like, and just like was able to flip off just like that because he's so rich that like there's just like a side vanity project for him. Like if it doesn't work, like whatever. I mean, he wants it to work, but it's similar to like the Honora, where like once his parents came and was gonna like for Vanya, and he's like, we're taking you back. She's like, come on, we can still get married. Like, it's not a big deal. It's like, he's like, you don't get it. Like, I don't give a fuck about you or like this project. Like, this is just like a fun side quest for me. So I don't know. I drew some parallels there, but basically, yeah. Then you get a bulk of time where Laszlo's unemployed, doesn't have a job, but then Harrison comes around to being like, okay, let's. So during this time, they moved to New York City. Laszlo's working at like some architecture firm.
Oh yeah.
Elizabeth's a writer in the city, which she was already, but like I think Van Buren like drove her to work every day because he like worked in the city. So it was like, but I think now they just like live there full time. But then Harrison Van Buren, just like he did with the library, like comes back and he's like, yo, like let's pick this thing up. Let's get to work.
Is the conversation that they have about it's Sophia, the niece's name? Sophia?
Zofia.
With his Z.
Zofia, yeah. They have the conversation about she wants to go to Israel because again, she's Jewish and she wants to be like their homeland per se.
And they're having a kid.
Is that before they go? It is before they go, isn't it? Because they reveal that they're having kids, her and her partner.
Her and her husband. She can speak
and
now.
There's kind of that conversation between like, Elizabeth says, I'm Jewish and I'm still here. And it's like, that conversation there. And then obviously, like Tyler said, we found out he's working like a firm. She is a writer for like a women's makeup brand or something, or journalist or whatever it is. So they're in a position where, again, it's another hit to the American dream, and kind of the myths around it. They're like in steady jobs at this point per se, but not really where they want to be. Not just Laszlo's case, but also Elizabeth. She constantly remarks about how she's very much overqualified for the work that she's doing in this brand.
Yeah, because we found out she like went to school like Oxford or some prestigious like journalism college in UK, and like she was like, I don't think won like a Nobel Prize, but like that kind of level where she's doing like crazy, like impressive investigative work. So similar to like where Laszlo's like this very accomplished architect, but he's like kind of working like wasn't actually designing like grocery stores, but like that's kind of the equivalent. He was like doing something so beneath him. She was writing
bowling alleys,
women's makeup or something so beneath.
It was a bowling alley. That's what he was doing.
Alley. Yeah, I guess even probably worse than a grocery store. I don't know. Yeah. But
hey, shout out to bowling alley though, because like I not from an architecture standpoint, but bowling alleys are fun. All right, so nothing wrong with the bowling.
Kind of from an architectural
points. We should bowl when we're in New York, Seth.
Oh yeah, we should bowl.
Man, and so many people like have criticized Brady Corbett being like, oh, he's like a wannabe Paul Thomas Anderson. People compare this to There Will Be Blood. So maybe the bowling alley aspect wasn't doing him any favors too.
maybe
have him design like an arcade or something. So just don't make the comparison so easy for people to draw on. But no, I disagree with those. It was just funny. It's a bowling alley. But yeah, so at this point Harrison kind of loops him back into the project, but they don't have the material, so they have to go to
Harrison. I feel like Harrison's just like just a reference to like wealthy people trying to control everything almost, where he's just like constantly pulling the rug out of Laszlo and just to give it back and like keeping him on a string almost. And obviously like later in the movie we'll get to it, but like it's a very like nasty scene of just like his dominance and him trying to again just like control everything basically
we're basically there anyway. Like
they go to
we're about to get to that scene.
Where do they Caracas? Yeah.
Carrara.
And then
all in the mines of Carrara. I don't know. Is that Italy? It says ancient Rome. So yeah, Italy, right?
So yeah, they're basically there to buy marble. And then he rapes Laszlo. And it's domination.
Fast forward.
I thought we were there. We just said we were there.
No, and then we were we were in. We were about to go to Italy. We're not there.
I thought. Well, we were talking. I was just going off like I'm just. The way I'm remembering is I'm just going through the.
I'm just chomping at the bit to talk about.
It's fine.
All right, you go, Seth. My bad. It's on Seth now.
They're in Italy.
We're in Carrara.
They meet a guy who Laszlo knows, and again, it's kind of that lack of trust from Guy Pearce and treated like a foreigner to help him do his work almost with collecting the marble. I have no idea what that guy's name was. I cannot remember for the life of me. And then there's kind of this like whole scene where it's almost like a party per se.
Like in the tunnels or something, some like club in the tunnels.
Yeah, very weird culty thing going on there. And then Laszlo's dancing with a woman there. Guys like kind of Desire, and then sort of Guy Pearce. It's almost like you have that shot of Guy Pearce looking over, looking down at them, and again, like to emphasize Cameron's point, it's that dominance and wanting to know that he's there for whatever he wants to do at this point.
Don't jump too far ahead.
I'm there.
Don't do that.
And then we're here. This is where I would say. Yeah, this is where I'd say I think this is so as Cam said, there's a scene where like Laszlo's basically off it, like he's on like he's on it. He's not really. Is he
high or is he just drunk? I can't remember.
He's high, isn't he?
Is he
probably both?
Probably both.
Yeah, I can remember. I can't remember if he was on heroin.
Definitely on heroin, but probably also drunk. I know for sure he was on heroin.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have a scene where. Well, basically, Guy Pearce's character rapes Laszlo, and again, like it's difficult because I think there are ways of showcasing dominance that don't need to be so gratuitous. And I'm not one of those people who's like, those scenes don't have a place.
Mm-hmm.
But almost is like I don't know whether it makes a statement or furthers the statement already explicitly made. If that makes sense.
I think it's one of those that like takes it to an extreme almost. It's
a very unsubtle way of showing like exactly what the theme of the movie is, and like just like the whole like American dream, like being raped of your identity, your dreams, your desires, and it's just like very clearly just like we're gonna show you explicitly exactly what we're trying to tell you.
One single scene.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like before this, like I said, it's a very extreme route to it, but it's like before then you could be like, this guy's making business decisions, he's an asshole, but he's a businessman who's trying to like he's pulling the project away because it's not going to make him money, and like he's an asshole, but he has some logic in there, but now it's just he's
kind of removes any sort of excuse you could have possibly
any doubt of it.
I don't really like the scene. I don't think it offers the film anything anymore. I don't think it makes any statement needed more than they haven't already told, is my issue. So that happens.
I think the only purpose of it was just simply to set up the final scene, which I think makes that scene. Which I'm not going to say what the final scene was yet, but talked about this on the podcast, which again, I'm only referencing the Looks Like a Movie podcast. I'm not going to act like this is like my thought that I created, but would have been so much more interesting if they didn't show the rape, even if it did happen. because it's so much more interesting when you get to that final scene, like as the viewer to be like, did it happen? Did it not? But the fact that you actually see it, it's like makes it a lot less interesting thematically in that final scene.
I think it's also to like just show the unraveling of Laszlo a little bit more, right? Like I think there are other ways to do it, but just making sure like the audience knows like this is why he's unraveling even more than he was already, kind of thing. I think that's just kind of what they were attempting to do.
Well,
I wish they didn't show it. I think it would have made it more interesting of a movie. And I'm not saying that because like movies shouldn't show stuff like that. It's obviously it's a hard scene to watch. But I more mean just I think thematically it works a lot better if you don't show it.
It's that show and don't tell.
Yeah,
show and don't tell. Yeah,
like
the opposite of actually no, maybe not the opposite.
But this one, maybe tell but don't show.
Tell
would have been more interesting.
Yeah. I think that for me, the second half that kind of epitomizes my take is that it's either very obvious with its inherent ambiguity, right? It doesn't really make any political statements. It's very, but it also is very forceful with its imagery as well. It doesn't actually further anything that has, that's not really already been said. And like Tyler said, I think if they hadn't showcased it, and as a viewer, sort of that brought in point of, did it happen? Did it not happen? What was the cause of it? Yada yada, whatever. I think emphasizes that point more than showing it and doing that point.
Mm-hmm. So what is in between that and then like the final scene? The heroin overdose, I guess.
Is that? Yeah. I mean, well, so obviously, because his wife is like, no, because there's something that happens before this because he's back.
He fires Gordon.
Yep, fires Gordon.
He's just going crazy. Basically.
The work site continues to get more and more of a mess and like more chaotic
in every single way.
Yeah,
like financially,
he's still high as shit, basically, just unraveling,
strung out all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a moment.
Gives heroin to Ezrabet.
Because she's obviously every night she basically wakes up in pain, and they kind of run out. This is a point where they run out of like the medicine that she has. So obviously heroin is like one of the biggest painkillers ever, pretty much. So he kind of just gives her heroin. It's not. How far after that is it when she has an overdose?
It's that.
I think it was the first time.
He gives it. Yeah, I think it is, right? He gives her because they're running out of it, so that's why he uses it, right? So then she almost overdosed.
I didn't know that was the first. I thought she had like. Talk about unlucky. That's like fucking crazy, isn't it?
I think it's the first time.
So she has an overdose.
Unlucky. I think it's heroin.
Well, no, but I just mean like I don't think it's very likely to have it on the first time. I mean, it might be.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
it's
she like goes to the toilet. He comes back. He finds her that she's like passed out. Clearly chokes her on sick, whatever. And then that's he takes her to the hospital. Like runs around screaming. Really, really devastating scene actually. Very much the way it showcases it. And again, this is what we come back to, the American dream. But it is tricky because it's hard to make an American dream film that doesn't have films of a nature where one scene is really optimistic and the next is very barren and then empty, but also sad and definitely. But it's like it's tough, man, because things like this are gonna occur and take place. And then after that, what happens after that?
Let me just they're thinking about going to move to Jerusalem.
I have that conversation about she's like, want to go to the homeland, want to go to Jerusalem on like the hospital bed post,
and then it's the
overdose
final scene, right?
Because I thought she would die at first, to be honest.
I thought she was dying there too, but no, it's like so Zsofia and her husband and their kid are now in Jerusalem, and Erzsébet wants to move back there. So it's kind of like you have these different phases. You have Attila, who's fully integrated in America after being an immigrant. You have Zsofia and her husband who moved in and was like, nope, not for us. Let's go right back and get out of here and go somewhere where we're basically is just a haven for people like us. So we're not going to have to be worried about being such an outsider. Then you have Laszlo and Erzsébet who are a little bit in the middle. Laszlo more on the American side. Erzsébet, even though they're both mostly in the middle, but Erzsébet wants to leave. Laszlo still wants to stay. So they're deciding, like, do you stay and try and integrate and think things are going to get better? Do you leave and go back to, or not go back, but go to Jerusalem where it's basically just like you're going to be the normal there. You're not going to be the outlier where people are going to like be treating you like you're some of this other and less than. So it's like this tough, like immigrant, like basically this decision you have to make of like, are you going to stay or not? And clearly Erzsébet wants to leave. He's not quite there yet, mainly because he's just so driven by accomplishing this community center. Then we get the final scene, really.
The final scene at that point? There's so much, like as I said, there's so much film.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, there's in between everything we've talked about the second half of the film, there's like a scene here and there. It's like on the work site, something goes wrong. On the work site, people get an argument on the work site. So it's like, this is like, there's all
it's
that.
Like constantly. Yeah.
We're kind of talking about the heavy hitting stuff, but there's a lot of building in the second half as well. And stuff going wrong.
So it concludes with, well, essentially Laszlo, I guess, like a final real recognition of his artistic feat. That's kind of the whole thing. Another
epilogue. We're talking about the Erzsébet talking to Guy Pearson.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
my bad, Cam. So we get
Tyler.
No, I meant because I said you went ahead with the Brexit.
Okay.
So then we get the scene where Erzsébet goes to the house, and basically just directly
calls Harrison a rapist
in front of everyone, confronts them. Joe Alwyn, like, she's on like a walking stick, and he just fucking swipes that shit and just like
crazy
scene, like literally drags her out. Wild. And then
that's awful.
Yeah. What does anything else help?
Well, then Harrison basically disappears, and they search for him for like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Throughout the tunnels and the catacombs of the community center, don't end up finding.
You don't know where he went.
Yeah, and thematically, what they're trying to get at here is, at least my take, I guess everything's subjective, is, he's this big, powerful, almighty man, and her accusing him in front of all of his rich peers kind of evaporated his persona of who he is. Which, especially on rewatch, but even on first watch, this part didn't work that well for me, because we know how things work in real life with rich and powerful people. If someone who's viewed as a less than by your peers comes in and accuses you like that, it doesn't just, like, how many times we've seen just powerful people just like are able to just get by allegation. Like, I just don't think immediately he's ruined, basically. Like Harrison Van Buren, just all his friends are like, yo, this dude's whack, he's a rapist, and like are all turn on him, and he's like, I don't know. It didn't work the best for me there. And
I agree.
I really think, again, like I was mentioning earlier, it would make it so much more interesting if we didn't know if it actually happened or not. Because then we're like sitting there like, was he just high on heroin? Because he's basically strung out this entire second half of the movie. Was he just out of his mind high and like he's making this up and like, this isn't real? Or was he like, did this actually happen? Did this not? And that would have been such a more fascinating, tense final scene. But the fact that we knew it happened was kind of like, okay, so we know it's true, and that also made the turn of Harrison Van Buren kind of rolling over so easily not as intense or revealing. But one thing we also talked about with the Let's Look at Movie Fellas is like the way Joe Alwyn responds is like maybe potentially it alludes to him maybe having some interaction with his father before, whether his father did something sexually to him as a child. Because I think someone met, like, there's one scene where basically like, has he ever done anything like this before? And then he said like, well, not to me. So like maybe it was like to his sister or something. But also like, but on the flip side, I think the whole movie you kind of see Joe Alwyn such a crazy dude, and also I feel like it's a pretty common archetype for like a son of someone super rich and powerful to like defend them tooth and nail no matter what, because like that's like their God basically. So like I could see either way. I could see something have happened where he's like, that's why he was like quick to jump, because he like knew that this probably was true. But I could also just see it being just a classic like rich kid who's going to defend his dad.
I thought the same as you. I mean, it kind of that pent up rage almost. It seems like that it's not mainly he doesn't kind of come across that it's a revelation to him almost. Mm-hmm. It's almost whether it impacted via him. His dad doing something when he was younger, which could be the case, or even just a knowledge of maybe previous experience that his dad has done to other people, or maybe a conversation, or maybe just it's just something he can see his dad doing that kind of provides that. But it's not an out of nowhere reaction. It's not a surprise reaction. It's more just like a pent up rage and like a shielded rage almost, where it's like, no, You can't reveal that. And but again, like going back to with the dad's disappearance, I do kind of prefer that it almost leaves us to question whether he faced repercussions for his actions rather than a showcase of that. Because again, I think that would have made it worse. But also, I didn't love that scene either. I think it's a very difficult one to do correctly because, as you said, with the rich and elites, we've seen them get away scot-free, and especially when it comes from a lesser in their eyes, believing isn't really the case, as some people do often. So I think it's a difficult one to get right within that scene. But I do prefer that they went that way rather than actually like imagine if they'd have shown he went for like repercussions for his actions or whatever. Then it really, what are we doing here?
Yeah, but no, crazy final scene. They give like Felicity Jones her moment where I don't think she was that good in the movie. I don't think she was terrible, but it was like kind of her time to shine, I guess. She gets her big grandstanding moment where she gets to make a big speech.
It's her Oscar clip.
Exactly. If they show it, but
I hope they do.
It's Joe Alwyn just so scary in this movie, man. I think he just really crushes it. But yeah, it kind of brings us basically to that. And she accuses him of the rape, and then he disappears. And he's gone. They just basically search. Yeah, and that's where like after the movie, I was like, what happened to Harrison Van Buren? Not because like a ending explained type thing. Like I need to know. It's more just because like I was like I genuinely thought these are real people. So like, what actually happened? What happened to this dude in real life? But then I realized this is not real people. I was like, gotcha.
Search on Google. What happened to Harrison Van Buren?
Well, like the thing is, like the epilogue, which we'll get to now, is like even more so like makes you think like it's a real person because like it's like it looks documentary the way it's shot. It looks like they just went to the real like shrine of like this guy's accomplishments and historical museum. So like, oh shit, okay, maybe.
What year is this again? At the end, do we know? The 80s.
80s, yep, 80s.
It was 80s, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was 80s.
In Venice.
Because it's like they're in Venice at like and it's like a Laszlo, I guess, achieving the first real recognition for his artistic visions and his artistic work. And it's shot. It's really interesting. It's shot like a news report, many times, and like this kind of really grainy documentary style, old school, video footage or whatever, of the 80s era. And it's kind of like him, a lot of the designs are incorporating elements of his past traumas and his life and the events. And then what's her name does a speech about it. Is it
Zofia.
Zofia.
So confusing to just like recast the original Zofia to be like the daughter of the adult Zofia. I was like, who's who? Because they use the same actress. It's like Zofia is now older, giving the speech, and then she like looks down at her daughter, who's like the actress who's playing Zofia. I'm like, man, this is confusing. Man.
A lot of Zofia.
That's a $10 million budget, but just get another extra in there for the daughter.
Yeah. Just put Brady Colbert in a wig. Just throw him in there.
It's a tricky one. It's a very bold ending, bold way to go. Similarly with the 3.5-hour epic of last year, or was it the year before? No, it's the year before. Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, with the epilogue at the end. You know what I mean? It's a really tricky one because again, I think this lacks real statement, but I do understand that it is kind of that full circle moment of the final celebration or the real celebration of his vision and his achievements. I didn't hate it, but I almost think I need to watch it again to actually gauge my real opinion of it. I'd be keen to know what you thought of it, Tyler, to be fair. That is the final epilogue section.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because it basically shows all of his accomplishments. It shows that the community center was built, and it shows that he had many other accomplishments he achieved along the way and after. And then she mentions that he resembled a lot of his architecture after like concentration camps that their families were held in. You kind of get, and then I don't know. I think the very last line of the film would be like the one that's when she's like saying, it's like the destination, not the journey. So it's like just a very interesting way to end a movie about.
It's a very like hopeful ending for like a not very hopeful movie. I feel like
it's difficult.
It's just and this was actually when I went out to our favorite website to watch movies because I actually rewatched the epilogue specifically again because I was like, that's the one I'm still struggling with the most. It's just. I don't know because thematically it changes so much about the film. I feel like because it talks about it's a destination at the journey. So obviously the whole film we're watching the journey, and then it kind of says like all that really matters in the end is like all that you accomplish, which you see like all these different images of like look at all these great things you built, and and he lost his wife, obviously, not too long after the events of the film. It makes it seem like, because it seems like she died relatively young from osteoporosis.
Yeah.
He obviously moves out. He's not in America anymore, but it's really bold ending to have like this documentary-esque detailing of a life and say, after everything we just showed you with the past 3.5 hours of this dude's life being torn to shreds from every angle, all that matters is his destination and not the journey. So I don't really know what landed for me. I know it's definitely the first time I watched a movie. I know the epilogue was definitely really jarring. I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the score that it goes from this like orchestral intense score to now like it's like club music, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross type stuff.
Yeah.
That's playing during like this
80s
montage
disco
of clips.
music.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Don't know how well it worked for me, but I also think even before the epilogue, the whole final like 10 minutes of the actual film itself weren't working the best for me. So I think the ending just kind of falls apart a bit for me with what he's trying to go for. But it is a swing, so I'll at least commend him at that.
I think this is the tricky thing with the film. I think half of the film is a swing and half is just like, oh, here's a moment. You know, we've already explained the moment, but here's a bigger moment. And it's the same with the ending as well. Although the ending's so much of a swing that I do like. Yeah, I like when films offer that kind of like you turn this film on its head about this kind of we turned it into like a modernist approach and a showcase of the artistic nature of the film rather than the rest of it. And it's a difficult one because I almost appreciate it more than I liked it. I think that's what I would say, especially with the ending. But I do think that the faults you just said about it, kind of the whole thoughts out with the entire second half, to be honest. I'm definitely keen to watch it again because I don't know if the second half will go up or down for me because a lot of elements I still think about. And it's a thinker. Like there's a lot. This is a fucking whole lot of film. As I said, like I loved the first half, and I think it works so well. But it's almost like when you're building a film centered around the American dream and the myth that surrounds it, you have to have these points. But I think a lot of the points that were shown too much of, and were shown rather than told, or both, which I don't think works into its entirety. Yeah. Cam, what did you think about the ending? Or the
I thought it. I didn't love the film as a whole, but I didn't mind the ending by any means. The epilogue specifically, I assume you're asking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a fine. Like I said, it's a like oddly hopeful ending for like not a very hopeful movie. It would have been, I don't know. This is where almost they didn't show any of his accomplishments. They kind of brushed past them, and I think it's more to like almost get to the point of it. Like you showed the hardships of it and the easy or the celebration of it is easier to just talk about rather than showing the hardships almost. But I thought the ending was fine. I actually find myself like as we converse and talk through this movie, I think I enjoy it a little bit more now. I don't know, where I'm at, but I've enjoyed this discussion, fellas. We're just listening to y'all as much as possible because I find myself, like I said, I was a little tired and maybe not focused entirely, but I enjoyed this discussion.
Anywhere else you want to go, or we leave it there?
I do want to ask, like, just while we're on the Brutalist itself, like, do you think the AI discourse will actually impact its Oscar performance in any way?
No.
I think I don't think Adrian Brody will win Best Actor. I don't know if that's because of AI or just because the Academy is going to vote Timmy, but that's my like bold prediction is I think Timmy will win now.
No, because I think the AI, when the original thing came out and the intricacies of it after, that's not me, I guess, defending it almost because I would never defend AI, but I think it was like used for like a line. So I think
what it was is people initially thought it was for his accent. They used re-speecher, which is a very common technology in the film industry. They said they used re-speecher for his accent, but then what actually was revealed was that it was for the one scene where he reads the letter from Erzsébet in Hungarian.
That's the one.
They use re-speecher on his accent. So it's not his entire voice. It's just that scene. And then the other AI was apparently generative AI used at the end epilogue for some of those buildings. But then it was come out to say they use AI to like create the concepts and someone else drew it. So what's true, what's not, we don't really know. A re-speecher was credited in the credits of this film. Re-speacher was also used on Emilia Perez, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I mean, I'm not arguing that. It's just this one, like, people pull out of like the AI bucket of like, oh, this $10 million passion project didn't pay artists kind of thing, and like people lose their minds. I was wondering if you guys thought like this would actually impact its Oscar performance in any way.
I don't know what the odds are. Tyler, you'll know.
Is this a favorite? Is this like Best Picture favorite or what?
I think it's Best Picture
is that
favorite.
looking like,
I'm pretty sure
Tyler?
Last time I checked a while ago, yeah, but
I think it's a decent Best Picture favorite as well, like -300 or something. I think I saw on Tyler's.
Right now it's -115, so it's a favorite. But
what's Emilia Perez?
What's second? Emilia
plus
Perez
400. Yeah. So the thing is, I think this
Emilia Perez second.
Yeah.
That's
so. I think the controversy with the AI, I think, got just so swept under the rug with Emilia Perez stuff. So I think that was helpful, but honestly, crazy. Like the editor of this film must not like Brady Corbet, because the fact that he went to some like loser website that like no one's ever heard of and like gives an entire interview saying like, yeah, we use AI in the like, you have to be smart enough in the industry to know AI, what it's going to do. So the fact that he went to like, it was like Red Note or something, some random website.
Yeah. Red Note, the new Chinese TikTok.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah, I don't know, but it was some weird website that like everyone was like, oh, this is a fake website, and then it came out to be real. But like the editor of the film, like, maybe he didn't get paid enough, and maybe the budget was too small, because he clearly like this is genuinely a hit piece to like be like, yeah, we use AI for like Adrian Brody's whole voice is AI with Respeecher. We use AI for all the building designs, and like I can only imagine Brady Corbet's phone seeing that and be like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? It's a difficult one with AI, because I think everyone now, deservedly so, on Twitter is just on this kind of witch hunt, you know, for when AI gets mentioned. But there is very much a difference in AIs, in generative AIs. There's very much a difference in the way they use them, and films have been using them for how long, but it's just how they use them, and do they take people out of jobs in order to use them?
Yeah, I think it's the unfortunate reality of where we're at.
The world. Just
everyone's going towards AI. I think it's an adapt or it's a sink or swim kind of thing. And unfortunately in the industry, it's no different probably than when like, you know, animation went from drawing to just creating on the computer. Like it's
or just using CGI as opposed to practical sets.
Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunately it's just kind of the way the world's going. Hopefully it doesn't, you know, take it. It's very drastic. I don't know how big those changes were. It's a very drastic change, you know, taking a ton of work away from people, because you could just like type it into Chat GPT. I know it's a different software, but yeah, it's kind of where the world's going. I'm certain we're never going to get a Best Picture lineup that none use AI in the future. Like I'm sure everything's going to use AI, and yeah, it's an unfortunate thing, but it's kind of just where we're at, I think.
Yeah. So The Brutalist is a favorite right now for Best Picture. Slim
Where's
favorite.
Dune at? Where's Dune at? Last,
like 8th, probably.
8th, yep. And then Nickelback is still here.
Okay.
I'm still here in last place. Kind of surprised me for that, because I feel like I was getting a lot of buzz. But
for what? Sorry,
Adrian Brody. I'm still here is the last place.
Oh, that's more Fernando Torres that's getting the buzz.
Yeah,
now.
But Adrian Brody's still the slim favorite for Best Actor.
Really?
Felicity Jones not the favorite, but then cinematography the Brutalist has, and then director. But screenplay Nora is a strong favorite over Brutalist.
Cinematography makes sense. So I think.
Come on, Dune, pull out something crazy.
Interesting fact. Do you know the guy you mentioned earlier, Tyler, the cinematographer on this? Or did you mention? Oh no, you mentioned the composer, didn't you?
Yeah.
The cinematographer. I think this is like his second. Oh no, cinematographer. No, that's the score composer. The cinematographer has not done many, but he's just worked with Brady Corbet.
Yeah, he did Vox Lux probably.
Noise. He did White Noise as well.
Noah Baumbach?
Yeah, and he also did
also train derailment in that film.
Oh,
big train derailment cinematographer.
Maybe
cinematographer.
System cinematographer.
He also did like Black Mirror episode of a comedy I really like, and The Devil All the Time, you know, with Rob Pattinson and Tom Holland. Interesting film to do.
Yeah, The Devil All the Time. Very mediocre film. Is that Russo brothers? No, I know that.
No,
I know
Cherry.
Russo.
I know Cherry was the Russo brother.
I was Antonio Campos. What a guy. Cool guy. Never heard of him. Anyway, we'll move on. So 3.5 for me, 4 for Tyler, and 3.5. 68 out of 100.
It is worth mentioning. George has seen it twice, and he gave it 3.5.
Oh yeah, both times I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And shout out Sophie for seeing this movie like 5 times. That's like half your life gone. This is the longest movie ever.
Yeah, she loves this movie.
Yeah, amazing film.
Sure.
We're going to move on to some news at this point. I do quickly, because I forgot to do earlier. I want to shout out our executive producers, Stephen Johnson, Devin Willett, and Alex Kephart. Nice. We appreciate you guys.
Goats.
Like I said earlier, have a look at the
Amazing
Patreon.
people.
You might find something you'd like. Who knows?
Comment down below what you would have given the Brutalist on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of people were
what you
upset
did
we had
give
our
the
people were upset we had our awards too early because we couldn't involve the Brutalist. Same thing last year with the Zone of Interest. Based on all of our ratings, I don't think it would have. It might have gotten some nominations. Don't really think it was going to win much.
Best actor,
definitely would have gotten some noms.
Yeah,
for score.
Guy Pierce would have been in there probably.
Cinematography, yeah.
Pierce would have been on there.
But I don't think this definitely wasn't going to be winning any of the big awards. Like Best Picture,
unfortunately, we're not waiting like a month after.
Score would have been nominated, but I don't think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, like Dune and Challengers for this podcast are still like these scores.
It would have been ahead of Dune for me.
So like this year, the Brutalist might have gotten the short end of the stick a bit. Hard Truth's got the short end of the stick. Last year, the Zone of Interest, but I think we value having our awards before like every other award show so much because it's like so much more fun that way. Like before, like all these other campaigns are going.
Dude, we have a month until the Oscars. That's too long. I'm done.
I'm done thinking about 2024.
I'm done thinking about 2025 or 2024. Sorry, like that's crazy. A month? My God, let's watch these damn movies, people.
True.
We can do it later next year, but not Oscars late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
We have some like a decent bit of movie news, some like real big things actually this week. So first of all, some more casting news for Nolan's The Odyssey. That cast just continues to get cooler and cooler. Elliot Page, John. Yeah, someone else.
Leguizamo.
Is
it Leguizamo? I thought it was Leguizamo. Okay. Leguizamo, who is just like the ultimate. Oh, that guy. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. Love him. Benny Safdie and Himesh Patel as well. Cast in Nolan's The Odyssey, which is big. I mean, this cast.
It's a lot. I think John Leguizamo the only like non-Nolan
of those four listed.
Of those four, yeah. Like I feel like the rest of the castings, they're all going to be like someone that's been in a Nolan. He's already got his new people. I feel like
Tom Holland. Loki, that interview from Guy Pearce makes you think Guy Pearce like pick me. Like no one. Like he's like, yeah, I wasn't good in that movie. I stunk. No wonder Christopher Nolan would never hire me again. I'm Oscar nominated, by the way.
What were you asking, Seth?
I'm just trying to think if there's anyone in the cast who is a non-Nolan.
Well, Holland.
Tom Holland is the big one. Zendaya hasn't worked with him yet. Has Lupita Nyong'o? I don't think so.
Actually,
so his main cast, I feel like he always switches up, but then his like background characters, like Himesh Patel was in Tenet, obviously, like for 5 minutes, so he'll probably have 5 minutes in this. He's got his folks. Elliot Page was in Inception. He's got his people. Yeah, he's got his crew.
Continues to get cooler. Oh, desperate.
I wonder if Josh Peck texted and be like, "Hey, I see you're like getting the gang back together."
Hey, yeah. Josh Peck has a group chat with all of them that like he's the only one texting in it. He's like, "Hey, let's get the Oppenheimer. I'll turn a key. Throw me in there." He turns the key to like turn on the boat.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah. Most desperate news of the week: Matthew Lillard returning for Scream 7. Do not forget why we were boycotting Scream 7, please. It's I mean, like we know. I mean,
it's Scream No Way Home. I think. Like,
no, it's
they are casting everyone.
It's Doctor Doom. Is Robert Downey Jr. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what it is.
An original
Scream is the MCU at this point.
Scream is the Iron Man. Well, not as like in terms of the original kind of Iron Man was the first MCU film.
Scream franchise is the MCU, is what I mean.
Yeah, I mean. Crazy, and I think they brought back a couple of guys as well, like from the original film. I mean,
they brought back someone from like Scream 3 or something who like died in that movie as well. So I'm guessing another terrible universe. I think it'll be like the Flash-esque, where you're gonna have these like visions of all the visions of Ghostface past.
This will get
because Stu Maher died, and
then there's some ambiguity though.
They brought someone else back who died in Scream 3.
That's what I was saying. There's other people they're bringing back that died.
The Scream 3 villain died as well. It's going to be like anyone. It's going to be an anyone can wear the mask Scream montage or something.
Like, this is so meta. This is what horror films do. So weird. Someone commented when I tweeted about it. They were like, "Oh no, but it's clearly like purposeful. They always plan this because
Scream was always meta, but like this is bad meta. This is dumb.
This isn't meta. This is just an excuse for them to get people in seats because they know people are hating them right now. They're like, if they bring Matthew Lillard, like, what are you doing, man? But also,
dude,
this will get people.
What was he ever doing though? Was Matthew Lillard ever
Actually, yeah, he just did Five Nights at Freddy's. So
yeah, I mean, like
well,
after
he did Twin Peaks with David Lynch, by the way, which is kind of wild.
I didn't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's it's just calamity. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Man? It's just a wash.
Get his bag at this point. I get it.
And then Carla Sophia Gascon. Fucking hell. The debacle with Emilia Perez. Like, she is going for every ethnicity, every religion.
Like crazy tweets, like hates. What was it? Like Jewish, Catholic.
She defended Hitler in a tweet, by the way.
I didn't see that one.
She needs to go on that UFC Fighters podcast.
Oh,
have a great time together.
Don't get me started.
She's about to. I mark my words. February 2nd, 2025. Not going to win an Oscar. Alt-right grifter in the next 4 months.
That is the trajectory I agree.
Crazy trajectory she's on.
She basically a bunch of tweets came up, and there was also that interview with Jack Audiard where he said the Spanish is a country is a language
for poor people,
poor nations. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
He's such a French thing though. Such a crazy, expected of the French, but no, it's like insane. Go ahead, Cam.
Did she actually? I saw something. She tweeted like how Selena Gomez fucking sucks or something. Is that a true one, or did you guys see that?
She tweeted.
It was from a Selena Gomez fan account.
Yeah, I don't know if that was true or not.
But she tweeted against. She also 24 hours before these tweets were uncovered. She also damaged her Oscar chances by speaking directly negatively about another nominee in Fernanda Torres, who said that she basically said that she had spread hate towards her in a campaign, which basically was like a baseless accusation. When actuality was the opposite, I think.
But the thing is, Brazilians run social media.
So
the fact that she accused Fernanda Torres is the sole reason that all these tweets got dug up. Which Carlos,
you gotta not say anything to get tweets dug up before your moment. You really have to.
Her kind of hilarious responses, like horrible, but like in a hilarious way from Carlos Sophia Gascon to be like, yeah, like I said some stupid things like 10, 20 years ago. And then the community note on Twitter literally says like, unfortunately, these tweets were from 2024. It's like, she's 10, 20 years ago. I was crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, the Oscars, very fucking, if they nominate
this,
remains.
This whole thing has been like the obviously horrendous stuff. The one meme tweet that might get me into secession is I saw like the clip of Matthew Tom Wanskans like hit the interviewing the guy who's like, yeah, I've read Mein Kampf a couple times, and he's like, you didn't get any of the Easter egg, a couple Easter eggs you didn't get on the first read. And he's like, I'm intrigued by it. He's like, what exactly are you intrigued? The horrible deaths, but a million Germans, billion Europeans. He's like, I think you're missing a couple million there or something. That might get me into secession. That literally is like 1 minute
going on in real life. And Conclave, obviously, as well. Like the memes coming out about that are really funny. And it's like, it's just crazy. The best weekend ever, or best week ever for the publicist for Demi Moore, Mikey Madison, who like, you guys are the two favorites for the Oscar right now. I don't need you going on any late night shows.
Yeah.
Don't even speak. This is the easiest campaign in your life. You don't have to do anything.
Did you see? Yeah. Did you see the Fernanda Torres thing as well that got dug up?
The blackface?
Yeah, but all these fucking...
Zoe Saldana also blackface.
Oh, Zoe Saldana played Nina Simone and did blackface. In a film, I was like, I had no idea this film existed.
And I really like Zoe Saldana, but her statement was like really weak coming out because her statement really read as like a... But I didn't tweet those things out, but she didn't even name Carla Sophia Gascon in her statement. It's like, it read very much as like a, guys, please let me get this Oscar. And I don't think anyone should. I mean, we already.
I'm so glad that all this has come out about a film that is just a piece of shit.
Do you think Emilia Perez still picks up any, or is it cooked after this campaign? I think Zoe Saldana still wins.
I hope she doesn't. I don't know.
I feel like they got. I mean, right now they're the odds-on favorite. The top two spots for the best song. So I feel like he's gonna get something.
I was thank the Lord they are not doing live performances this year. I'd turn it off straight away. That'd be fucking horrific.
Yeah, I don't know. I just still. I feel like it'd be way too optimistic to say Emilia Perez is gonna get shut out because of this. But
I think she should get shut out.
Oh,
but it's crazy because
she will for sure.
You know,
how she wins.
Will she? No, I mean like not be. She shouldn't even be a nomination.
Well, like they announced a week ago how they weren't
yeah.
doing the clips. They're doing like the previous Oscar winners like give the speech like they did last year, which is crazy. Like who are they? They're gonna, like I don't know. They can get like Frances McDormand to go up there and say like a glowing speech about Carla Sophia Gascon before she gets like crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
And every day more stuff comes out. So like by the time this even releases, we could find out she's murdered kids before in her life.
Like it is crazy. Like it seemed like every hour there was like another tweet. So Brazilians, man, their stan culture is insane. Fair play. A couple more bits of news. Did you guys watch the new Sinners trailer? It's like 5 minutes long.
What is this? A bit of news? This is like the biggest news of the week. This is the bit of news outside of like.
We're moving on to the biggest news of the week soon.
The Sinners trailer is fucking big. This is movie of the year, man.
I haven't watched it.
This is so good.
No, I haven't watched it. It shows everything, so I haven't watched it yet.
Although one image was spoiled by discussing film, so I know what the gist of the trailer was. But
what do you mean you didn't watch the trailer?
It spoils everything.
I watched the.
Oh my god! This is the trailer of the week. Sinners on top, baby. Haley Steinfeld, I love you. I'd do anything for her.
Okay. Same
with Michael B. Jordan.
I think it looks very, very good, but I've just apparently
Sinners movie of the year. Also, it is funny. Like, who's releasing this? Is it who's releasing Mickey 17? Same company, Warner Brothers. Back-to-back releases of person playing dual roles with Mickey 17 and Sinners coming out a month apart. Yeah.
True.
So shout out.
Multiple roles, isn't it?
Also, I don't think this I think it spoils like something. Okay, so Haley Steinfeld spoiled as a vampire, right? That's what you're talking about. I think there's going to be more to the movie than that.
I'm sure there will
just because like I think Ryan Coogler came out and said basically like vampires are not the only like mythical thing in this movie, but Michael B. Jordan, Tommy Gunn, vampire movie. I'm so in. Ryan Coogler's never missed. This movie's gonna bang. Movie of the year. I think it's my most anticipated. It's jumped Superman.
Ryan Midler, more like.
Something like that.
The biggest news of the week: Jake Gyllenhaal. Well, it was funny actually because it was revealed that Jake Gyllenhaal was rumored to star in M. Night's next film by the main man himself. Whatever is Schneider, whatever
Jeff Snyder,
Snyder.
And I'm like, let's just take a chill pill. And we're all like, this is obviously fake. 10 minutes after deadline, I'm like, oh shit. So Jake Gyllenhaal set star in a supernatural romantic thriller directed by M. Night Shyamalan, his next film. Jake
JG needs a win. I'm not I might be out of like the cultural norm there, but I'm not a big ambulance fan.
You're in the cultural norm if you're not.
Even if you are, even for fans of
ambulance, though, he's Trap, right, is one of his most celebrated films on film Twitter. Yeah, it has like 2.6.
Yeah,
people
that's very fair.
In the grand scheme of things, modern audience, general audience hate M. Night.
Yeah, so it's not going to be a win for Jake. It's the audiences. No,
I guess he was just in the Apple show that was pretty good.
Presumed Innocent did well. He was nominated for that.
He was in Ambulance.
Roadhouse mid. The Covenant mid. Strange World mid. Ambulance mid. The Guilty
Ambulance
mid.
is good.
No, Ambulance sucks. This is why I'm in the.
I'm going to check your rating right now.
2.5. 2.5. So mid. The Guilty bad. 2.5 mid. He was in the New Spirit mid.
No, that's not mid. That's like the worst film ever made.
Okay, I've never seen it. So yeah, it was in the New Spirit.
Far From Home.
His last good movie, Far From Home, peak.
Okay,
his last good movie was Far From Home.
What's his last actual good film? Let's see.
Far From Home, you fuck.
Okja. Okja was his last good film, 2017. That's a long time.
Was it? I like Stronger a little bit.
Wait,
I don't see that. To be fair.
No, what's Stronger?
But yeah,
it's a Boston Marathon movie.
Oh, I
Boston Marathon.
All we know right now is that Jake Gyllenhaal starring in M. Night
which was also
movie
2017. So no.
It's co-written by Nicholas Sparks, who did all the famous rom-coms, and I believe if the article was correct, it's like they developed the script together of like this idea of a movie, and Nicholas Sparks is like writing a book about this idea, and M. Night Shyamalan's like writing a film about this idea. So it's like a thing. Interesting collaboration, but Yeah, I mean, this is like a dream for me. This is obviously my most anticipated film ever, Jake Gyllenhaal and M. Night. So excited. We won't probably know more for a while, but
you have liked his last 2 films, Cameron. You better shut up.
Both of them are kind of mediocre. Jake Gyllenhaal is one of those guys. Like, is Jake Gyllenhaal actually a really, really great actor? Because I think he is, but let's see. Like,
he's starring on Broadway with Denzel Washington.
He's also, by the way, Jake Gyllenhaal is also. Is he in The Bride? Oh, he's in The Bride.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's.
I don't know if he's in it or if he's just like he's throwing a bone to his sister.
I think he'll be in it for like a couple.
Throwing a bone to him.
Yeah, I don't know, but like Jake Gyllenhaal is widely regarded as one of those guys who deserves an Oscar. He does for a lot of his performances, but is he in really like that great of a filmography? Like,
well, last 10 years, no, but his run from like 2000 to 2016 was pretty incredible.
Prisoners, Brokeback Mountain, Nightcrawler, Zodiac. Donnie Darko, really good. Okja, Enemy, I like these movies. End of Watch, but like,
and then End of Watch isn't good. Let's chill.
End of Watch is fine.
And then he kind of goes, down after that, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, like he has very good movies. Don't get me wrong, but like, is he one of the greatest actors of all time?
I don't think so. I
think
he's very.
But I feel like if you asked a normal person outside of like movie world, I think like they would name Jake G as like one of the best actors.
I don't know.
You don't think?
I think Jake Gyllenhaal nowadays. Back during the Prisoners, Nightcrawler, Zodiac run, yeah, probably.
Brothers, fine.
Yeah, like it's difficult. Like general, I guess. Jake Gyllenhaal's still like beloved in our community, but it's just
I like him. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just like once you like look into it, pull the pieces back, like. I don't know.
Well, I don't think he's ever bad. I think he's just some bad movies, but
he was in every.
It's definitely not his fault 90% of the time. Like he's doing a great. I think he's really good in Ambulance. Too many drones, man. Too many drone shots in that.
No, Ambulance is good.
They're flying through the city 90% of that thing. It's like a TikTok of that guy who uses the drones. I don't know.
In fact, apparently that Apple TV show was really good. I haven't seen it because I don't watch shows.
Again, it's a show I watched 4 episodes and really liked and never came back to it. I don't know why. The weekly releases kill me.
Yeah, it's not been a great few years, but hopefully this increases it, improves it. I can. That's kind of it this week, I think. Yeah, it's kind of this week. So let us know. Drop a comment down below what you thought of The Brutalist. Very keen to hear your thoughts on not only The Brutalist, I guess, altogether, but also the ending. Thoughts on that? Maybe any particular scenes you wanted to mention that we might have missed? Because again, it's a massive film. We probably missed a certain thing here and there. Like I said earlier, check out the Patreon. There's a bunch of different benefits in there for you. If you want to get some merch, you can also get 20% off using your Patreon membership as well. But other than that, next week we will be back with adding movies to the ReelTok collection. Sing Sing, maybe. Sing Sing, finally going to review that. I haven't been to watch it for a while. I think I'm going to watch it probably tonight or tomorrow, actually. So pretty excited for that. We'll review that. Love Hurts, which is the one with Ki-hee Kwan or something, I think. Yeah. And then Heart Eyes, which I don't know what that is.
That's like a rom-com horror movie. Both of them I have very low expectations for, but those are the 2 Valentine releases of the year. Love Hurts and
Heart Eyes.
Alex Coleman has an advertisement for it on TikTok saying it's peak. So,
well, unfortunately, I will not be watching it because it isn't out for another 3 weeks here. It looks very,
which is wild because it's like a Valentine's movie. Like you got to release it on Valentine's weekend.
On Valentine's, yeah.
Or at that point, just don't even release it.
Yeah. We also got like Real Quick Wise In Bruges review, and we also. On Thursday, another Letterboxd rating. We're recording another one of those, like ranking one, like these guys did with Marvel last week. So let us know if you want more of that. But other than that, we will see you next time.
Peace.